Konoha was the strongest of all the hidden villages. It was a no-brainer. After Hashirama, the first Hokage, was convinced by his brother, Tobirama, that it would be a better idea to keep all the Biju, instead of giving them to the other villages like he originally planned to do. Konoha became unstoppable. However, despite all their might, it still faced problems. When Namake's Minato became the fourth Hokage, he faced a glaring issue. All of the Jinchuriki, except the one for the Kyuubi who was also his wife, were getting old and new Jinchurikis were needed, and it was hard to find someone who was suitable and willing to bear the burden of being a Jinchuriki. He planned to fix this problem after Kushina gave birth. However, a masked man came and released the Kyuubi. After an intense battle with said masked man, he was prepared to deal with the Kyuubi. The fox unfortunately couldn't be resealed within Kushina, and so he had no choice but to seal the mighty fox within his newborn son, Naruto. This is where our story begins. The Shinigami looked down onto the sun-kissed blonde who had summoned him. What? Minato looked at the Shinigami and sighed. I wish to seal half of the Kyuubi within my son, Naruto. The Shinigami raised a non-existent eyebrow at the request. Just half? What? Because sealing the whole thing would kill him. Not if you tell me not to, the Shinigami stated. Minato was caught off guard for a second. Explain, quickly please. The Shinigami sighed. Despite what I am, I can prevent certain deaths from happening. However, the death must be specific and it is a one-time deal only. The blonde quickly processed everything and was intrigued. It was then an idea came to his mind. Question is prevent Naruto from dying due to having too much chakra from Biju being sealed within him specific enough? He asked with a slight bit of desperation. It is. Do you wish for your son not to die that way? Minato quickly nodded. So be it. I shall seal the Kyuubi within Naruto, and in addition, I shall give him a mark that'll prevent him from dying due to chakra overload from additional Bijus being sealed within him. In return, I get your soul. Deal, Minato said. I know that you'll be able to handle it, Naruto. Hiruzen looked at the scene. His successor and Kushina laid dead in front of their newborn baby. With a heavy sigh, he began walking towards the baby, before stopping in his tracks. The Shinigami appeared next to the newborn and placed 2 fingers on the lower part of his neck. What the hell are you doing? The professor asked. The Shinigami looked up to see the old man. Fulfilling my end of the deal, the Shinigami replied in a calm manner. Deal? Guess he would want you to know. The Shinigami sighed. Minato asked me to place a mark upon the boy that'll prevent him from dying a certain way. Hiruzen raised an eyebrow at this. The mark will prevent Naruto from dying due to having additional Biju sealed within him. Hiruzen went wide-eyed at this statement. Kami, I hope you know what you are asking for Minato. The Shinigami then lifted his hand off the newborn. Now identified as Naruto, it is done. He then vanished. Hiruzen then walked towards the newborn, picking him up. He then looked to where the Shinigami had placed the mark, seeing that it was a red X. Ugh, the council meeting will no doubt be interesting. Kill it. No, we are not killing him. The reinstated third Hokage stated, silencing the civilian side of the council. Minato stated that Naruto is to be seen as a hero, and we will respect his wishes, said while releasing a bit of killer intent. Meanwhile, Danzo looked at the newborn, a fine new weapon for Konoha. One to mold into the perfect shinobi. It was then, squinting, he noticed a red X. It couldn't be a scar or a birthmark. No, it was too red and straight for that. His curiosity got the better of him. Hiruzen then turned his attention to the old Warhawk, who was once his friend. The two grew apart over the years, ever since Hiruzen was selected for the position of Hokage instead of him. May I inquire about the weird red X on the child? The room went silence, as everyone turned their gaze towards the child, with some not being able to see what Danzo was referring to. The side that did see, however, was the shinobi side of the council and the elders' side as well. One of the elders, Hamura, broke the silence. Huh? What is that? Hiruzen took a deep sigh, dreading this topic that he was hoping to avoid as much as possible, without the civilian side being present. However, it was now unavoidable. That is a mark. A mark that'll allow Naruto to have the other Biju sealed within him and not suffer the possibility of death due to chakra overload, given to him by the fourth. The room went silent once again. All the Biju sealed within one Jinchuriki. The Warhawk couldn't help but smile. The ultimate weapon for Konoha? How could he say no? It was perfect, really. They would no longer need to put their attention on the multiple Jinchurikis to make sure they were safe and didn't defect. No, all their attention would be on just one. Quickly, Danzo spoke up. Well then, what are we waiting for? Let's seal the other Biju within the boy already. The civilian side of the council quickly erupted. Are you crazy? We can't allow the demon to grow more powerful than he already is. No way in hell. Hiruzen, quickly growing irritated, then slammed his fist. Quiet. The civilian side did as they were told. Now, this is a very delicate matter. I'd say we vote on it. The professor allowed for a few minutes of silence to pass, so that everyone could make up their mind. Good. Now, all those against having all the Biju sealed within Naruto raised their hands. Most of the civilian members raised their hands. Now, all those in favor of sealing all of the Biju within Naruto, raise your hands. Most of the shinobi members raised their hands along with the elders. Then it is decided. Naruto will have all the Biju sealed within him. Now, any laws regarding Jinchurikis will apply to him. Hiruzen then looked at the civilian side of the council, including the death penalty part. Most of the civilians trembled at the killer intent directed at them. Hiruzen, along with Danzo, Koharu, and Hamura, walked into the room. There, holding the new Jinchuriki, was a tall man with long white hair, one of Hiruzen's students. Is it done, Jiraiya? The professor asked the Toad Sage. With a heavy sigh, Jiraiya delivered his answer. Yes, the other 8 have been sealed within Naruto. I hope you know what you are doing, Minato. Very good, Danzo said. Anyways, you should probably be gone soon. Make sure our enemies think we're still strong. After a quick displeased grunt towards the Warhawk, the Sannin handed his godson to his teacher and headed off. Hiruzen then started to head off towards the orphanage before being stopped. Hiruzen, for the benefit of Konoha, I would dash. Before Danzo could finish that sentence, Hiruzen cut him off. I know what you are going to ask, Danzo. And the answer is no, the professor said in a tone that made it clear that this topic was not up for debate. Hiruzen then exited the building, leaving behind a scowling Danzo. You can't keep him out of my hands forever, Hiruzen. I will have him under my wing, and I will mold him into the perfect weapon for all of Konoha. Meanwhile, in a place that can only be described as sewer-like, the 9 Biju sat in silence. After many years of being separated and unable to see each other, they were finally together again. Unfortunately, they wished to have meet each other again while they were free, and much to their disdain, they were still caged. After a while, the QB broke the silence. So, we're finally together again. It's nice to see you all again. The fox then turned his gaze towards the tanuki of the group. Well, some of you, less than others. The Ichibi quickly responded, Go to hell, you arrogant fox bastard, he yelled while raising the finger towards the fox. The Sambai groaned, You both act like children sometimes, you know that? Yeah, settle it like true adults and fight, the Yambi cheered. They can't. We're all stuck behind these cages, you musclehead, the Gobi said in a deadpan voice. Yeah, besides I would win anyways, the fox stated in a smug tone. The Ichibi grew a tick mark, grrrr. So what now? The Nibi asked. Not much we can do other than sit around, talk, and nap, the Hachibi said. And wait for our Jinchuriki to grace us with his presence, he then added. Who knows, maybe he'll be nice, the Rokubi stated in an optimistic tone. The QB scoffed, Please, he'll probably be like all the rest. I'm actually going to have to disagree. I have a feeling that he will be different. I'm willing to bet on it, the Nanabai said. Well then, I'll hold you to that. Until then, I'm going to sleep, the fox replied. A young blonde boy with whiskers was walking through the snow. The coldness of the snow couldn't compare to how cold he always felt. Ever since he was kicked out of the orphanage, He couldn't help but feel isolated. Nobody wanted to talk to him. Hell, no one even wanted to be near him. It was as if they were scared of him, and he didn't understand why. He tried to talk to kids his age, but the parents would always make sure that their kids avoided him. The only people who were ever nice to him were the Hokage, when he gave him his own apartment and money to live, as well as the people at Acharka's ramen. However, he rarely saw either, the former because he was always busy, and the latter because he wouldn't go to them unless he had money, so their kindness was short-lived. Taking a deep sigh, he continued his walking, not really having a destination in mind, just walking. Freak. He stopped in his tracks upon hearing that word. It was one of many words people used to describe him behind his back, as if he wasn't listening, along with demon, monster, and many others. Why? What did I do? He looked to see who was talking about him, only to see something else. 3 older kids were picking on some odd girl with lavender eyes. Please, stop, the girl said with tears in her eyes. Please? Wow, for a Hyuga. You sure are pathetic, one of the bullies said before pelting the defenseless girl with a snowball. This caused the boy to become something he usually never felt, angry. He saw a little of himself within the girl, someone who was mistreated for no reason. Quickly, he ran up to the bullies. Hey, leave her alone. The bullies turned their attention towards the blonde. Hey, it's that freak my mom told me to avoid, don't know why. You look like a weak kitten, one of them spoke. I said, leave her alone, the blonde yelled, proceeding to throw a snowball at one of them. Oh, you're dead. The bullies then proceeded to rush the blonde. A fight ensued between the 3 bullies and the blonde with whiskers. After a brawl, the bullies ran off after being beaten by the blonde, a huge damage to not only their bodies, but their ego as well. They would make sure that the blonde would pay. The blonde slowly made his way to the indigo-haired girl. Though he emerged victorious, he sustained many bruises and injuries. He wiped the blood off the bottom of his nose. Are you okay? He asked, caring more about the girl's safety than his own. He found out at a young age that he healed quickly, so it's not like he wouldn't be okay later. The girl stood there stunned. Here was someone who willingly put himself in harm's way for her. Why yes, I'm fine. What about you? Oh, don't worry about me. I'll heal, he said while taking deep breaths. What's your name? The girl asked, confused on why she did. I'm Uzumaki Naruto. You. Naruto. She had heard that name before from her father, who told her to avoid him because he was dangerous. When she asked why, her father never gave her a clear answer. She couldn't understand it. This boy was dangerous. He looked nice and seemed friendly, and in her mind, a little cute. Realizing that she was just standing and staring, she replied, H. Hyuga, hi Hinata. Thank you. Don't mention it. I'm happy to help, he said while giving a foxy grin and a thumbs up. She blushed. Hey, are you okay? You dash. Before Naruto could finish, he was cut off. Hinata-sama. The girl looked up to see her bodyguard, Ko. There you are. I was wondering Ko cut himself off upon noticing injuries on Hinata. What happened? He yelled before quickly noticing the Jinchuriki. What did you do? You dash. Before he could finish, he was cut off by, of all people, Hinata. He didn't do it. So some B-bullies did, and he fended them off, the shy Hyuga said. Ko stood there in silence before quickly recomposing himself. My apologies, Naruto. Please forgive me. It's fine. I should get going. Here. He gave his scarf to the lavender-eyed girl. You look cold. The shy girl took the scarf. Thank you. The blonde turned around to head home. He took a few steps before falling unconscious due to his injuries. Well, let's go. Your fath dash. Ko was once again cut off. We can't just leave him there. He needs to go to the hospital, Hinata said in a pleading tone. Ko looked at the unconscious Jinchuriki. If Hinata came back more injured, my ass would be on the line. I guess I owe him one. Fine, we'll take him to the hose dash. Ko was cut off again. No need. Ko grew a tick mark, annoyed by being cut off. It was then an ANBU with a wolf mask with gravity defying silver hair appeared out of the shadows. I will take him to the hospital. He then picked the blonde and made his way to the hospital. Well, I guess we'll head home, Ko said, taking Hinata's hand and leading her home. The shy Hugo walked with her bodyguard, still surprised at how Naruto overcame the odds stacked against and won a fight with 3 academy-level shinobis. She began to wonder, could I do that? Could I overcome my odds? Naruto woke up the next morning in a hospital bed. Ah, you're awake. Naruto quickly turned to see a familiar face. Hey, Gigi, he said, happy to see one of the few people that were nice to him. I heard about what happened to you. The blonde's smile turned into a frown. The professor quickly reassured the blonde, you're not in trouble. I'm actually happy. You have the makings of a great shinobi. Naruto beamed a happy smile. Really? It was a dream of his to become Hokage. In his mind, if he became the Hokage, maybe the village wouldn't be scared of him. However, if he wanted to be Hokage, he needed to be a shinobi first. Yes, defending others is what shinobi do all the time, Hiruzen said while smiling. So does that mean? Naruto asked with excitement. Yes, I'll allow you to attend the academy to become a shinobi. The professor was going to allow the Jinchuriki to attend, regardless of whether or not the council would accept. Anyways, come on, let's take you back to your apartment. The blonde got out of the bed, his injuries already gone as if they were never there to begin with. The two then exited the hospital. Naruto and Hiruzen made it to the Jinchuriki's apartment. Welp, I'm sorry, Naruto, but this where we end our time together. The blonde frowned. Okay. He then went to the door. One more thing, Hiruzen said. The blonde stopped and turned his attention towards the Hokage. In your apartment, I left you not only money for rent and food, but a few gifts too. The blonde gasped. Is it ramen? The professor couldn't help but chuckle. Yes, but also some items that'll help you with your shinobi career. The blonde was in complete excitement. Thank you so much. He then quickly entered his room. The professor then proceeded to head to his office. You have the makings of a great shinobi, Naruto. Minato would be proud. Naruto looked at his gifts. On the table was a gourd and 2 big boxes. Naruto then walked towards the gourd and read the letter on it. This gourd is filled with chakra-infused sand, and inside are seals that can give you more sand if needed. Use it to defend yourself. Read the scroll in the box that is titled Sand Manipulation to learn how to. Naruto then opened the box, and in it he found many scrolls. Some about fire jutsus, earth jutsus, water jutsus, wind jutsus, and many others that caught his attention, such as lava release and coral manipulation. He searched through the box before finding the sand manipulation scroll. Quickly he opened the scroll and began reading all of its contents. Meanwhile, within the boy's mind, a certain Tanuki couldn't help but gloat. Looks like he is interested about using number 1. The fox was quick to respond. It is recommended that you start at the bottom, usually the weakest and easiest, he said while grinning. Why, you little dash? Oh, just marry each other already. The blue cat groaned. Oh, make Ko's first words. Ko's mother watched as her baby reached out for her. With a smile, she picked up her baby boy. Dash. She held her breath. The baby then looked in her eyes and opened his mouth, ma dash, before being cut off. His first words. A tick mark grew on the boy. Naruto couldn't be more happy. Today was going to be his first day at the academy, his first step towards becoming Hokage. He put on his gourd. It was heavy at first, and carrying it did cause him some back pains at first, but he quickly adjusted. He then got dressed, deciding on a black shirt with navy blue pants. He then made his way towards the academy. His first few moments at the academy did not go well. Most people couldn't believe that the demon was allowed to attend and become a shinobi. He didn't let that bother him. He made his way towards the classroom and entered the door. Once he entered, he was met with multiple people staring. Among those staring was a familiar indigo-haired girl, Hinata. He remembered the girl and equally how the girl became the talk of the village. Apparently, a Kumo ambassador attempted to kidnap her in order to give the Byakugan to Kumo. She successfully was able to break free and defend herself until ANBU came and subdued the perp. She became very popular and even received a speech from Hiruzen commending her bravery and even offered the rank of Jinin to her, to which the Hyuga heiress declined. He was inspired by her bravery, and this inspired him to work hard, so that one day he could get as popular as her. Although, the saddest part was that a rumor was spread that a Hyuga had to be killed in order to appease Kumo for nearly killing one of their own. The Hyuga, noticing that the blonde was staring at her, quickly turned away. The blonde shrugged and went to take his seat. Meanwhile, a certain lazy pineapple-haired boy couldn't help but be slightly intrigued by the boy. He had heard of Naruto, and he couldn't help but wonder why the blonde had the reputation he had. He attempted to get answers from his parents, and all they said was Naruto is a very special person and refused to emphasize on the subject. While the lazy Nara contemplated the blonde, a Inuzuka and a Aburame conversed with each other. "This is odd. My beetles seem to be oddly attracted to this kid," the Aburame said in his usual calm voice. If you think that is weird, get this. Apparently Akamaru says he smells of tanuki, cat, turtle, ape, horse, slug, beetle, octopus, and fox. The ninkin above his head barked. I suppose the beetle smell would explain why my bugs are attracted to him, but then that raises the question of why he smells of beetle. The Aburame asked, growing more curious about the blonde. Personally, I'm curious about that gourd he is carrying. The thing looks like it weighs a ton empty, never mind filled. Why is he even carrying it around? The Inuzuka said while narrowing his eyes. Perhaps we can ask him at lunch? The Inuzuka nodded. The blonde took his seat next to a window and started staring out the window. His staring was then quickly interrupted. The blonde, along with other males, covered their ears at the screeching. The blonde turned to see what people were screeching about. Apparently, some raven-haired boy had entered the room, and a bunch of girls were excited to see him. He raised an eyebrow before turning to a boy eating some chips. "Excuse me." The boy stopped his munching and turned his attention to his classmate. "Yes." "Who is that?" "Oh, that's Uchiha Sasuke, the second son of the Uchiha head clan." "Want a chip?" the boy said while handing him one. The blonde smiled. "Yes, and thank you." He then took the chip and ate it. "So why are the girls so happy to see him?" Before the Akimichi could answer the blonde's question, the Inuzuka interrupted. "Because he is so cool," he said in a mocking tone. "And what makes him cool exactly?" A pink-haired girl then interjected. "What makes him cool? What makes him not cool?" I don't know. From what I see, he doesn't look all that special," the blonde said, not seeing what make the Uchiha look cool. "PFT, what is a baka like you know?" It was then the Hyuga heiress added herself to the conversation. "Sakura, that was very rude." The girl, now identified as Sakura, quickly looked up at the role model for young Kunoichi. "But it's true. If he doesn't see what makes Sasuke-kun so cool, he is clearly a baka. You don't even know his name. And yet, you insulted him right in his face. From my perspective, that comes off as very rude," the Aburame heir added. "All right, everyone, take your seats." Now, a man with a scar across his nose yelled. Everyone quickly obeyed. "Ugh, hello. My name is Yumino Irika. I'm going to be one of your many senseis this year. Today, we're going to do some basic shinobi stuff such as shuriken throwing. Then after lunch, we're going to have a spar to round up the day." Everyone started muttering. Let's first take attendance. Naruto was, like always, being alone. He ate his lunch and quietly sobbed. He hated being alone and had hopes he could make some friends at the academy. "Hey, Naruto, was it?" The blonde looked up to see a pineapple-haired boy. "Yes, why?" "Want to sit with me and my friends?" The blonde was taken aback by the question. "You all want me to sit with you? If it's not too troublesome." The blonde stared at the boy before giving his answer. "I would love to." "Cool. Shikamaru, by the way." The two then went to a table that had 7 other people. He and Shikamaru took their seats. "All right, I got him. I already introduced myself, so you can do the rest," the Nara said before laying his head on the table. "Choji." "Ino." "Hinata." Shino, Kiba, and this is Akamaru. The Ninkan above him barked. Sakura, HN, Sasuke. So cool, the fangirls said with hearts in their eyes. Naruto, and it's nice to meet all of you, the blonde said with a smile. Silence filled the group before the lazy Nara spoke. Hey, if you don't mind, we have some questions. Not at all, ask away. Kiba was the first to ask his question. What's with the gourd? Oh, this was a gift. What's it filled with? The Inuzuka continued. Sand. Everyone was caught off guard by this answer. Why do you carry around a gourd of sand? Shikamaru asked. Oh, because I can do multiple things with it, like defend myself. Baka, you can't use sand to defend yourself, Sakura said. The blonde just smirked. Just wait until get to spar, I'll prove you wrong. Anyways, other than that, I can do multiple things with the sand, like make sand sculptures. Oh really? Ino asked while getting an amazing idea, in her mind at least. Hi. Can I ask for a favor, Naruto? Ino said while smiling. The blonde nodded. Could you make a sculpture of me and Sasuke-kun kissing? Sure. Aigu dash. Before he could finish, Sakura quickly interrupted. Hell no. Naruto, do me instead. Back off forehead. I asked first. He deserves a real woman. Ino pig. Shikamaru couldn't help but groan. Troublesome fangirls. Naruto, could you just make 2 sculptures, one for Ino and another for Sakura? Sure. The blonde got up and then started to use his chakra to manipulate the sand. They all looked on with amazement. And done. Naruto then moved out of the way to let everyone admire his work. Everyone looked on with more amazement before the 2 girls who made the request noticed something. Ano. Thank you, but why dash? The Yamanaka heiress tried to put it into words without sounding rude. Why does the kissing look weird? Sakura finished for her friend. I've never seen people kissed before. He answered in a deadpan voice. While everyone's sweat dropped at this, Shikamaru asked a question. Hey, isn't that very chakra draining? Not for me, he answered. The Hyuga heiress grew curious and activated her Byakugan, only to loudly gasp at what she was seeing. What is it, Hinata? Shino asked, curious as to what made her gasp. In Naruto, not only do you have an unfathomable amount of chakra, why you have 10 different chakra colors. Everyone was taken aback by this. 10 different chakra colors? That should be impossible. You should only have one. What are they? Naruto asked, as he too was curious. First is the normal light blue everyone has, then tan, dark blue, gray, red, a bluish white, then a snow white, a grayish blue, purple, and finally orange. She replied. Before they could dive into this further, Iruka spoke up. All right, everyone, follow me and Mizuki. Everyone did just that. Okay, here's how the matches are going to go. You both are going to go at each other until one of is either ringed out or knocked out. Understood, Mizuki said while looking at the students. Everyone gave a collective yes. And remember, this is a spar, so don't go too far, okay? First up, Sasuke and Naruto. Iruka said. Kick his butt, Sasuke-kun. Show this nobody who's boss. Kick this freak down a peg. Naruto and Sasuke stood opposite of each other. Hajime. Sasuke quickly rushed at Naruto, lining up for a punch. Before the punch could land on the blonde, it was blocked by the sand. Everyone gasped. Naruto then retaliated by pushing Sasuke back with a punch of his own. Sasuke got up and recollected himself, and started making hand seals. The blonde knew which jutsu was trying to use, and quickly made the same hand seals. Fireball jutsu, the raven-haired boy yelled. Fireball jutsu, the blonde yelled, producing a fireball that not only was bigger, but oddly enough, blue. Naruto's fireball overpowered Sasuke's, and Sasuke quickly got out of the way. This nobody is showing me up. I can't lose to him. What will my father think? The Uchiha thought bitterly. He quickly noticed that the blonde was rushing towards him. Before the blonde could react, Sasuke had stabbed him in the chest with a kunai. And then Sasuke punched him in the face, and the blonde fell unconscious. Sasuke smirked at his victory, but then the realization of what he did set in. Oh shit. Uchiha Sasuke. Irika yelled. What did I say about not going too far? Meanwhile, Naruto found himself in some sewer-like place. Before he could process where he was, a loud voice came out to him. So, you finally arrived. Naruto looked and became wide-eyed at what he saw. 9 cages, each with a large animal in it that were all staring down at him. Who are you guys, and where am I? He asked. The octopus-like creature answered the second question. We're inside your mind, Gaki. The blonde was surprised by this, my mind. It looks like a sewer. Yes, it's a good representation of where your mind is right now, the horse creature responded. And as for who we are, the fox said, we are the reason you're hated and feared. We are the Biju. And you're our Jinchuriki. The blonde was shocked by what the fox said. It all made sense. So you all are the reason why I am so alone. Yep, the slug creature replied. Silence filled the blonde's mindscape. Naruto's saddened look turned into a smile. Well, since we're all stuck together, do you all want to be friends? The Biju were all taken aback by what the blonde said. They all tried sensing the boy to see if he had some intentions just to use more of their powers, but to their surprise, they couldn't find anything, not even the Kyuubi, who was the best at sensing out of all of them, couldn't. You seriously want to be friends with us? The Shichibi asked. The blonde nodded. Silence filled the mindscape once again. Why not? The Sanbai said. Sure, the Hachibi added. The Nibi, Gobi, Rokubi, and Nanabai then gave various forms of yes. The fox scoffed at his siblings. You are all willing to lower yourself to befriend a mere human? Oh, how the mighty fall. The Nibi rolled her eyes at her brother's remark, prideful as always. Ekarama? The fox quickly became angry at his sister. You moron. Now this human knows my name. Well, sorry, if I don't feel like calling you Kyuubi every time he is in our presence, the Nibi shot back. In fact, you know what? The cat took a deep breath. Shikaku, Matatabi, Isabu, Son Goku, Kokuo, Saiken, Komiai, and Gyuki. There, now he knows all our names. Happy now? The now identified Matatabi asked. The fox did nothing but grumbled underneath its breath. Since we're all friends now, could you please remove these seals and change part of your mind so that it's comfortable for us, please? Gyuki asked. Naruto did just that, but only for the Bijus that agreed to be his friends. He left Shikaku's, Goku's, and Kurama's cage alone. Thank you, Gaki, Kokuo said. Well, I guess I should wake up now, huh? See you all hopefully soon, the blonde said with a smile. Actually, we can still communicate with you when you are not within your mindscape, Gyuki replied. Oh. Naruto woke up to find himself in the nursery. Thank God you're all right. Naruto looked up to see Hinata. The Hyuga quickly blushed. Oh, how are you feeling, Naruto-kun? Naruto gave the Hyuga heiress a fox grin. I'm doing all right. Thank you for asking. Hinata let out a smile. Sorry, I'm the only one H here. The others H had to go home. I was only able to convince my bodyguard to stay under the promise that we go as soon as you woke up. You didn't have to do that, but thanks. The Hyuga sighed. Well, I need to go now. Go goodbye, Naruto-kun. Bye. And just like that, Naruto's first day at the academy was over. Naruto couldn't help but let out a huge smile as he had made a bunch of new friends. Omake, the seven-tailed beast. Hey Komiai, I have a question, Naruto said to the Nanabai. The Shichibi looked down at its Jinchuriki. Yes, Naruto? In the Japanese version, is it Nanabai or is it Shichibi? It's both, the Nanabai replied. Really? The Shichibi nodded. In fact, it's going to be a running joke in this book that the author constantly changes it, the Nanabai added. I would say that will quickly become unfunny, but that implies that it's funny to begin with. Yes, in actuality, it'll become very annoying for not only the reader, but the author as well. Like how it's becoming right now, as he is writing this Omake. The Shichibi said. Okay, enough breaking the fourth wall. It's expensive to repair, you know. A mighty version of my voice said. Hey, that's my line. Technically, it's your mother's. The Nanabai and I said at the same time. Time skip. Okay, next up is Hinata and Naruto. The blonde left his gourd on his seat. This was just a pure match after all. He wanted to try out his taijutsu that he created after all. He then walk into the arena. Kick his butt, Hinata Heim. Show that nobody his place. The Hyuga heiress couldn't help but frown at her fan club. She hated how they treated Naruto-kun. Even after she told them that the reason she is like the way she is today is because of Naruto, they still treated him like crap. She also wasn't a fan of how they tried to pair her up with Sasuke, despite making it clear that she was not interested. She then went towards her opponent/inspiration. She enacted the act of friendship and lifted her hand towards the blonde, catching said blonde, along with everyone else, off guard. I've been looking forward to this day, Naruto, she said while smiling. She had been for a while. Ever since her father found out that they shared the same class, he had forbid her from interacting with the blonde, much to her dismay. The blonde was still trying to process on why the Hyuga princess would want to be friends with him, a nobody, especially since they haven't interacted a whole lot ever since the first day at the academy. Just accept it already, Kokuo said. Okay, fine. The blonde then shook the Hyuga's hand, noticing a light blush. Hajime, Mizuki yelled. The blonde used his new taijutsu against the Hyuga and did hold his own for a while. However, against the much more experienced Hyuga, it was all for naught. The blonde found himself outringed, silently grumbling to himself. It was then he noticed that Hinata was attempting to lift him up. You fought well, Naruto-kun. Your taijutsu could use some work though. Perhaps I could help you, she said while smiling. Naruto grabbed her hand and allowed her to pull him up. Thank you, Hinata, and would love some help. It was then he heard a certain cat giggling. What's so funny, Matatabi? Oh, nothing. Before he could continue the conversation within his head, a rock was thrown at him by a member of the Hinata fan club. It's Hinata-heim or Hinata-sama. You freak, he yelled. The blonde grew a tick mark. Throw something at me again, and I will bury you with my sand. Hey, Sasuke wanna get dash. Before Choji could finish, Sasuke delivered his answer. No. He then proceeded to leave the academy. The blonde couldn't help but feel bad for the raven-haired boy. Ever since his brother went crazy and killed his entire family and left him the only survivor, he became a lot more cold and distant. He attempted to connect with the Uchiha, but each attempt ended with a get lost. Sighing, Naruto started to pack his things. Hey Naruto, want to go with Choji and to eat some barbecue? Naruto looked to see his lazy friend who had asked the question. Not today. I'm going to work on my chakra control. Choji just scoffed. Sounds like an excuse to get out, because you know I'll win this round's eating contest, he said with a smug. In your dreams, Choji. But seriously, I do wish to work on my chakra control. Choji sighed. Oh well, your loss, my gain. Naruto couldn't help but chuckle. Goodbye, guys. See you tomorrow. In the outskirts of the village, Naruto took a deep breath, preparing himself for what he was about to do. You can do it, Gaki. I believe in you, Saiken said in her usual optimistic voice. 33rd times the charm, Komi-ai added. Thanks, guys. The blonde then prepared himself for the task he had been trying to do, tree walking. With a heavy sigh, he then proceeded his now 33rd attempt. After a while, the blonde gave his biggest smile. I did it, he said while still running up the tree. Eventually, he stopped himself at the nearby branch. After multiple failed attempts, some of which ended in destroyed trees. I'm going to celebrate. Let me guess, with ramen? Isabu asked. Yes. He then jumped off the tree and started headed back to the village. While walking, he suddenly sensed something strange for people are here. Naruto, be cautious. I sense bad energy from them, Yuki told the blonde. Unfortunately, being cautious wasn't an option, as the four people, wearing headbands that appeared to have rocks on them, jumped out of hiding. What are IWA Nin doing here? Probably looking to get their asses burned. I hope so at least. Matatabi said, hoping for some action. So this is the brat. Yep, matches the description. Ah, crap, the blonde gulped. Okay, listen here you. This is how this is going to work. You are going to come with us willingly. The IWA Neen then pulled out a kunai. Or else. The blonde wasn't intimidated by who he presumed was the leader. No, what is going to happen is that you're all going to leave, or I'm going to kick your asses. The IWA Neens laughed. Suit yourself. For kunais were then thrown towards him. Using his sand, he quickly blocked all of them. Two of the IWA Neens then rushed at him. Quickly, Naruto pulled out his bamboo jug and pulled out its pipe. Both were also gifts from Hiruzen. With a deep breath, Naruto blew into the pipe, and a barrage of bubbles soon followed. The two Nin that were rushing him were internally laughing at the stupidity of the blonde, only to be met with a very big surprise when the bubbles popped. Ah, shit, one of them yelled, burning in pain. What the hell kind of bubbles are those? The other yelled in equal amounts of pain. The blonde couldn't help but smirk. The kind that has acid. Naruto, behind you, Kokuo yelled. Naruto quickly dodged to the right, avoiding an ninjato. Naruto quickly then grabbed a hold of its owner, then quickly let go. The IWA Neen was confused, but quickly found out what the blonde did as his body was then encased in coral. The last IWA Neen then made some hand seals, earth-holding jutsu. The ground beneath Naruto then proceeded to attempt to get a hold of the blonde. Before that could happen, Naruto suddenly grew wings and then flew up, avoiding it. You can always rely on lucky number 7, the Shichibi said in his happy-go-lucky voice. Thanks, Komiai. Naruto then proceeded to make some hand seals, fireball jutsu. Yes, burn that bitch alive, the pyromaniac cat yelled. Mudslider barrier, the IWA Neen said as a wall blocked the fireball. Bullcrap, the cat said bitterly. Naruto then landed on the ground and used boil release to increase his speed. The IWA Jonin was caught off guard by this, and using this to his advantage, the blonde rushed at him, landing a punch on the IWA Neen and sending him into a tree. The blonde smiled. Thanks, guys. You're welcome. Anyways, you should probably head to Hiruzen. Inform him about this, the horse suggested. You're right, Komiai. The Nanabai gave Naruto his wings. The blonde then proceeded to fly towards the Hokage's office. The area fell silent, and the IWA Neens laid unconscious. It was then a half-black, half-white creature sprouted from the ground. My, that was quite impressive, the white half said. Yes, I suppose it was, the black half replied. We should probably inform Obito-sama. Yes, we should, and we should also make sure that we refer to him as Madara, 'cause he'll kill you if you say his real name. You moron. With that, the plant-like creature receded into the ground. The blonde made his way to the tower and was about to enter before being stopped by Chunin. Hokage-sama is busy, get lost. But I need to see him, it's important. I'm sure it is, the Chunin said sarcastically. But it is, some IWA Neens attacked me. Sure, and I bet the fourth was there. Naruto then began to mad. Look, what's your problem? Currently, it's an annoying brat that is trying to waste Hokage-sama's time. Get lost, the Chunin said while losing his patience. Look, this will only take a few minutes of his time. Then you can wait tomorrow, the Chunin said while growing more and more agitated. I'm not leaving, the blonde said while giving a glare at the man. At this point the man lost it. I'm not going to say it again. Get lost, you fucking Dadash. The Chunin was unable to finish that sentence, as a kunai was thrown, piercing his throat, killing him instantly. As the Chunin fell dead, the blonde froze in fear. Quickly, he turned to see who threw the kunai. He saw a person wearing a dolphin mask and a black hooded cloak. Before Naruto could question him, he quickly disappeared into the shadows. Naruto was about to chase him before the door to the Hokage's office opened. He turned around to see, not only Hiruzen, but someone who was equally as old and covered in bandages. The professor saw the scene and was confused. Naruto, what happened here? The blonde, who was still processing what had just transpired, tried his best to answer. I was here to tell you about the IWA Neens that tried dash. Before he could finish, the bandaged man interrupted him. IWA Neens. Here, he asked. Naruto, are you sure? The blonde nodded. Naruto, tell us everything. The professor processed everything that the Jinchuriki had told them. Question, are the IWA Neens still there? The Warhawk had asked the blonde. The blonde nodded. Well, Naruto, it's clear that you have been through a lot today. Why don't you go home and we'll handle it from here? Hiruzen said in a calm voice. Okay. The blonde then got up and exited the room. As soon as he left, Danzo quickly spoke up. It's clear that he is in danger of being kidnapped. Hiruzen, I assure you, if he was Dash, Hiruzen was quick to respond. I've already told you multiple times, Danzo, and I will tell you again. No. Also, it's Hokage-sama to you. Now, if you don't mind, I have important business to attend to. Danzo did nothing but scowl as he left the room. You wish to see me, Danzo-sama? The root agent asked. Yes, I'm curious as to why you killed the Chunin. He was about to reveal Naruto's status as a Jinchuriki. Ah, I see well. You have served your duty to Konoha well. The Warhawk smiled. That is all. You may leave. Time skip. Naruto couldn't help but smile. Today was finally the day he would become a genin. Everyone was muttering and were equally excited. I said quiet down. Irika yelled. Everyone did as they were told. Okay, everyone. Today is graduation. You've all made it this far. I'm sad that I won't be able to be your sensei, but I'm equally glad with how much you have come. The next time we meet, it will be as equals. With that, good luck, but I know you won't need it. Okay now, make 2 clones. Irika said. Naruto nodded. He couldn't make clones the same way Irika or the others could, but luckily for him, he could make them in a different way, with sand and ink. And so he made 1 sand clone and 1 ink clone. With a smile and a thumbs up, Irika exclaimed, You passed. Irika then gave Naruto a leaf headband. You earned it, Naruto. Naruto gave his biggest smile. Hey, would you like to get some ramen later? Irika asked. Would I? Irika chuckled. Naruto was packing up his things, happy with how today went. Sure, he didn't make Rookie of the Year, but he did make 2nd place, which was good enough for him. As he exited the building, he was stopped by Mizuki. Hey, Naruto, he said with a welcoming smile which had the opposite effect and made Naruto feel uneasy. Yes, Mizuki-sensei. Heard you passed. Congratulations. Naruto. Yes, Matatabi. I sense bad intentions coming from this man. What should I do? For now, play along and try to figure out what he wants. Thank you. Yeah, but what if I told you there was a way to get a Chunin rank? Really? Naruto asked with fake excitement. Yes. All you need to do is get a scroll from the Hokage's library and deliver it to me at the entrance of the Forest of Death. Do you accept? The blonde nodded. Good, Mizuki grinned. I'll see you there. Hiruzen was dealing with the normal headaches that is paperwork, like normal. It was then he heard a knock. Thank Kami, a distraction, he thought. Come in. It was then a certain sun-kissed blonde entered the room. Ah, Naruto. Good to see you. I heard that you passed. Congratulations, he said while smiling. Hey, Hiruzen. Hiruzen instantly knew something was wrong. Naruto wouldn't call him by his name unless something was wrong. What is wrong, Naruto? Naruto then proceeded to tell Hiruzen everything. I see. Well, thank you for informing me. Umbu. It was then 4 Yinbu agents appeared. I want Mizuki captured and sent to Ibiki. Hi. They collectively said and scattered. As the blonde went to go home, he was stopped. Naruto. The blonde turned around to face the professor. With a heavy sigh, Hiruzen prepared for the reactions the blonde would no doubt have. I think it's time you know about why the village is seemingly scared of you. It's because of the Bijus, right? This was unexpected for Hiruzen. How dash, before he could finish, Naruto answered. Day 1 of the academy. Silence filled the room. Naruto, I'm sorry. It's okay. I had time to be upset, and I'm over it. I don't hold a grudge against you or the village. That's good to hear. I was expecting a lot of things. Well, if nothing else, I'll be gone. Actually, there is. I left a few gifts for you back at your apartment, including a scroll on how to make a specific type of clone, different than the ones at the academy or the ones you make. With a smile, Naruto thanked Hiruzen and head off. Once the blonde arrived at his apartment, he looked to see the new gifts from the old man. The first was a black outfit that he already loved, and the second was a scroll titled Shadow Clones. Today was the day that the Genin would be assigned to a team. Naruto was excited. He wondered which team he would be a part of, who would be his teammates, and who would be their sensei. I personally hope it's not with the Uchiha, Koko said. Huh. Oh, ignore him. He is just being grumpy, Saiken said. Although, I also hope that we don't get paired up with him too. All right, class. Everyone turned their attention to Irika. Today is the day you'll be assigned to Dash. Before he could finish, he was interrupted by a pink-haired girl who asked a question that everyone else was wondering. Well, everyone except for Naruto. Irika-sensei, where's Mizuki-sensei? Irika sighed. Mizuki is currently under arrest for attempted treason against Konoha. Everyone gasped and began muttering amongst themselves. Due to the fact that the investigation is still ongoing, I cannot go into further detail. They continue muttering. Anyways, regardless, today is the day that you're going to be assigned to a team. I will be telling you which team you are on. Team 1. Naruto ignored the team assigned until Team 7, Uchiha Sasuke, Uzumaki Naruto, and Hyuga Hinata. Your sensei will be Hatake Kakashi. The Sasuke and Hinata fan clubs groaned in disappointment. Kami, damn it, the 9 Biju thought. It was like this before. Their previous Jinchurikis would be assigned to a Uchiha in some way to make sure that they would be kept in check, whether it be as bodyguards or as teammates. I will be on a team with Naruto-kun. The Hyuga couldn't help but smile at this. Not only would she be on a team with someone who was her inspiration, but also her crush at the same time. She blushed a little. I hope he returns the feelings. Meanwhile, the Rookie of the Year wasn't as happy, thinking that the two will only hold him back, despite the fact that one of them was the top kunoichi, and the other was a second close to Rookie of the Year. Meanwhile, a certain lazy pineapple-haired boy couldn't help but wonder something. Strange, I thought the formula was Rookie of the Year, then top kunoichi, and finally dead last. He shrugged to himself. Guess they decided to change it up for whatever reason. He sighed, troublesome. Choji looked at his friend. Huh. Nothing. After all the other teams were called, they were collected by their respective sensei, except for Team 7, who were still waiting for their sensei. Naruto decided to try to get to know his teammates a little better. He first turned to the raven-haired boy. Hey Sasuke, are you excited to be shinobi? The Uchiha scoffed. Don't talk to me, nobody. Typical Uchiha arrogance, the fox said, showing his disdain for the clan. Realizing it was a lost cause, he turned to the Hyuga heiress. What about you, Hinata? The lavender-eyed girl quickly turned the other way in an attempt to hide her blush. The blonde was confused. Was there dash? No, there's something in my eye. Oh, okay then, he said, not really buying her excuse. She must not want to talk to me either. I guess that training together was just pity, he thought sadly. The blue cat sighed. You're an idiot sometimes, you know that? Huh. Nothing. The blonde sighed. Well, if nothing else, I'll just take a nap. Wake me up when he gets here, please. It was an hour later, and their sensei still hadn't arrived. Where the hell is he? The last Uchiha said through his teeth. Maybe he got lost? The Hyuga heiress responded. Before the Uchiha could respond, he was cut off by the sound of the door opening. The two turned, hoping it was this Kakashi, but instead it was some cloaked figure wearing an animal mask. The Hyuga raised an eyebrow. Ano, who are dash? She was cut off by figure throwing kunais at her and Sasuke. The two quickly dodged the kunais and looked as the figure jumped out the window. They followed in pursuit. Once outside, the figure looked at the two. Ah, I see you both survived. Makes sense. It would have been embarrassing for people from clans of elites to die cause of some simple kunai throws, he said, his voice being distorted by the mask. The figure then turned to the Uchiha. Although, in your case, it's just elite, now is it? Said Uchiha quickly got angered by the figure, and some hand seals, fireball jutsu he yelled. The figure quickly dodged the fireball and pulled out a paintbrush and a canvas. Hinata and Sasuke raised an eyebrow at this. Then suddenly, a wolf popped out of the canvas and charged at Sasuke. While Sasuke dealt with the wolf, Hinata charged at the figure attempting to punch him. The figure quickly dodged the punch. This guy is no joke, she thought to herself. She then took her clan's fighting stance and activated her Byakugan. The figure quickly replied, "Ah, the gentle fist and the Byakugan. Frankly, I'm honored." The figure then quickly drew on his canvas and started painting. She quickly tried to stop him, but it was too late. A hawk sprouted out of the canvas and quickly charged and grabbed the Hyuga heiress. As the hawk flew up higher, the Byakugan princess attempted to land a hit on the black and white hawk. Eventually, she landed a lucky hit. However, she overestimated its durability. With one hit, the creature then exploded into ink. As she fell down, she closed her eyes and embraced for impact. But it never came. She opened of her right eye to see a blonde with whiskers on his cheeks. Lucky number 7 saves the day again, the Shichibi exclaimed. Thanks, Komiai. Are you okay, Hinata? He asked with worry. She realized that the blonde was holding her bridal style. She blushed and pressed her fingers together. I'm fine, thank you, Naruto-kun. She also realized that they were still in the air. She also heard fluttering. She looked at the source, and said source surprised her. Naruto, you have wings. Yes, I'll explain how another time. Now we have to help Sasuke and take down this Weirdo. She nodded in understanding. He then took to the ground and carefully put her down and rushed to help Sasuke. He quickly touched the wolf and encased it coral. Are you okay, Sasuke? TCH, I didn't need your help, the Uchiha said. But thanks, anyways. The Biju were all shocked by what the Uchiha said. The blonde then helped the Uchiha up. The trio then turned to face the mysterious figure. My fight is with them, not you, the figure said while pointing at the blonde. Well, that's too bad, 'cause you made it my fight. Damn it, Danzo-sama gave me orders to only attack the Uchiha and the Hyuga and to specifically leave the Jinchuriki alone. Maybe I could dash. The figure's thought was cut off by a kunai being held against his throat. Everyone looked to see who was holding the figure. It was a tall masked man with silver gravity-defying hair and one eye, with the other being covered with his headband. The man quickly spoke. I don't know who you are, and I frankly don't care. But you are clearly a threat. You and I are going to the T&I department. The figure response was substitution. Everyone looked to find the figure. The blonde yelled, over there on that tree. Everyone turned to where the blonde was pointing and saw the figure painting on a branch. Before they could react, it was too late. A hawk appeared out of the canvas and quickly grabbed the figure, then took off. Everyone stood in silence. It was then the man spoke up. Sorry for being late. If I had known that you were going to be attacked, I would have arrived much sooner, he sighed. Welp, it's nice to meet all of you. I'm Hitaki Kakashi. Meet me on the rooftop, he said with an eye smile. He then shunshined to the roof. Guess we'll head up to the roof then, the blonde said while sprouting his wings. Hey, Naruto. The blonde looked at the Hyuga heiress. Yes, Hinata. How do you have so much power? She asked. The lasted Uchiha glanced over, also curious. Like my wings, I'll explain another time. I promise. Hinata nodded. The Uchiha HMFPD, deciding to respect his blonde teammate's wishes. By the way, would you two like some help getting up to the roof? They both nodded. The blonde then made 2 small sand dunes. Get on. Report. A bandaged man said to his subordinate. I can't say for sure if the two are capable of defending the Jinchuriki, as I was not only interrupted by said Jinchuriki, but their sensei, Kakashi, as well. I'm sorry, Danzo-sama. Danzo sighed. Damn it. Fine. Should I try again? No, that won't be necessary. We'll just test them another time. Kakashi glanced up from his book to see the blonde fly down and his teammates jump off the sand clouds. Seems he has good control over the Nanabai. All right, everyone. Again, sorry I'm late. I got lost on the path of life. The three Jin in sweat dropped at the lame excuse. The Bijus also sweat dropped. Anyways, let's go over some introductions. Tell us your name, your likes and dislikes, and any dreams that you have. He then looked at the young Jinchuriki. You first. With a smile, the blonde exclaimed, I'm Uzumaki Naruto. My likes are ramen, training, and spending time with my friends. My dislikes are the 3 minutes that it takes to make ramen and ignorant people. My dream is to become Hokage. The Jonin chuckled. He definitely is your kid, Kushina. He then looked over to the last Uchiha. You next. My name is Uchiha Sasuke. There's not a whole lot of things I like or dislike. My dream is not a dream, but a goal. To kill a certain man. Itachi definitely did a number on him. The Jonin sighed. And finally you. My name is Hyuga Hinata. My likes are cinnamon buns, gardening, and flower pressing. I dislike some of my clan's traditions and how it treats the branch side. My dream is to become a great clan heir. She then looked down to hide her blush and pressed her fingers together. And to confess my love to certain someone. I wonder who it is, the Jonin thought sarcastically. Guess I'll go next. You already know my name. My likes and dislikes are something I don't feel like telling you. And as for dreams, I don't really have one. Everyone's sweat dropped at this. The blonde sighed. You give off enough lazy energy to rival a certain friend of mine. My name is Dash, Shikamaru then sneezed. Ah, bless me. Anyways, the one-eyed Jonin said. You should know that tomorrow, only 2 of you are becoming Genin. What? The blonde yelled. But we already passed the Genin test. Correction. You only passed the test to show that you are capable of being Genin. The actual Genin test is tomorrow. Come to Training Ground 7. And don't eat. You'll throw up. The Jonin said before he shunshin away. The blonde sighed. Good luck tomorrow, guys. He then got up and started going home, before being called out by certain turtle. Naruto. Yes, Isabu. Me and the others have been through this before. Whatever the test is, you'll need the help of your teammates to pass. Ah, thank you. Tomorrow had came. Naruto was waiting patiently for his teammates. Hey, Naruto. He looked over to see Hinata alongside Sasuke. He smiled and waved at them. Hey, guys. The two sat down next to their teammate. Guys, I need to tell you something. The Hyuga and Uchiha looked at their blonde teammate. Whatever the test Kakashi-sensei gives us, we'll need to work together in order to pass. The Uchiha glared. So you can be only one to pass? Why should we trust or believe you? The blonde sighed. Sasuke, he was lying. Think about it. When has there ever been a team that only had 1 Jonin and 2 Genin? And besides, we're Genin. Do you think we could, on our own, beat a Jonin? Much less a very experienced one. The Uchiha wanted to retort, but couldn't find anything faulty in the blonde's logic. It was all true. The blonde continued. Whatever the test is, if we do it alone, we'll fail. I just ask that we work together. Is that okay? The Uchiha thought to himself for a bit. Naruto was one of the few people at the academy who he considered his equal, being able to hold his own against him when they spar. He would never admit it to anyone, especially not to him, but the Uchiha respected the blonde and his power. As long as he doesn't hold me back, I guess it'll be worth it to at least cooperate with him for now. He sighed and gave his answer. Okay, I'll work with you. The blonde smiled and turned his attention to his indigo-haired teammate, Hinata. The Hyuga heiress was more than happy to work alongside her crush and quickly gave her answer. Hi. Then it's settled. We'll wait for the pervert to show up and then force him to pass us. The Uchiha raised an eyebrow. Pervert. That book he reads is smut. Oh. The Hyuga gasped. Our sensei reads smut in public and in front of us, she asked, appalled by her sensei's indecency. Meanwhile, hiding in a bush, said perverted sensei couldn't help but smile. He was smiling at the many things he overheard. Not only did the blonde find out the true meaning of the test already, he also managed to convince his teammates to work together. And it's clear that he is your son too, Minato. He then gave a small sweat drop. I mean, as if the hair alone wasn't obvious. He always found it confusing on how no one in Konoha made the connection. Yellow's son kissed hair, similar hairstyle, blue eyes, and had the surname of a woman his sensei was very close to. Sure, their marriage was a secret, but not a very good-kept one. Even the IWA Neens that attempted to kidnap him said he looked similar to the Yellow Flash. If IWA could make a connection years after the war, why couldn't this village? He sighed. I guess hatred really does blind us. It was then that the Uchiha's stomach growled. Hinata noticed. Oh, my family made us some food. She then lifted her bag that contained bento boxes. One for all three of them. I'll pass, Sasuke said while silently regretting it. Thanks, but I ate, the blonde said. Before the Hyuga could protest to eat the food that her family made, her bag was stolen by a blur. The three looked to see their sensei. Thanks for making me lunch, Hinata. He then put the bag somewhere for later and looked at the three. Are you all ready? The blonde smirked. You bet we are. The Uchiha smirked alongside his confident teammate. Whatever you have, we're ready. The Hyuga only nodded. Very well. The Jonin then pulled out 2 bells. Whoever gets these bells becomes Genin. If you don't come at me with the intent to kill, you won't get them. The test ends at sundown. Understood. They all nodded. All right then. Ready? The three prepared themselves. Set. They all took a deep breath. Go. The three quickly retreated into the wilderness and quickly regrouped behind a bush. The Uchiha looked at Naruto. Any ideas? He said quietly. Give me a second. Guys. Yuki was the one to respond. We already thought of a plan. Just repeat what I say to your teammates. Got it? Got it. He then looked at his teammates. Okay, here's what we do. It had been 5 minutes since the test started, and the three still hadn't made a move. The Jonin looked up from his orange book. What could they be planning? It was then Naruto came out of hiding. The Jonin looked at his sensei's son. Where are your teammates, Naruto? Naruto said nothing and used boil release to increase his speed and charged at the Cyclops. Kakashi quickly dodged. Using boil release, smart. If I was a lesser Jonin, that would have hit me. Naruto quickly turned around to rush Kakashi again. This time, Kakashi decided to attack and punched Naruto as he got close. As Naruto was pushed back, Kakashi noticed that Naruto was smirking. It was then that Naruto exploded into a cloud of ink. Before Kakashi could recollect himself, he heard someone yell, "Fireball Jutsu." He once again dodged, but it was then he heard the words, "You're within my range." He turned around to see Hinata with her Byakugan activated and in her clan's fighting stance. 8 trigram, 64 palms. 2 plams, for plams, 8 plams, 16 palms, she yelled as all her attacks landed on him. As he got up, he saw Naruto with his wings charging at him. The blonde was about to grab the bells, touching their surface, before Kakashi was able to dodge and Naruto landed face first into the ground. Naruto quickly got up. Retreat, he said. Naruto, Sasuke, and Hinata quickly ran back into the wilderness. Great coordination, great use of their abilities, and much more the Jonin thought to himself. They came so close. You know what? I'll pass them. They clearly understand the importance of teamwork. Besides, my chakra has been shut off, and I'm not going to use my Sharingan. Meanwhile, Sasuke was gritting through his teeth. It's fine, Sasuke, his blonde teammate reassured him. We'll get him next time. Should be easier now that his chakra is blocked off. The Uchiha took a deep breath and nodded in understanding. What now, Naruto-kun? Maybe we can dash. You can all come out now. The test is over, their sensei said. The three came out in confusion. But the sun is still up, the Hyuga said. Yep, and the test is over because you all pass, Kakashi said while giving a thumbs up. They all said. The meaning of this test wasn't about getting the bells. It was about teamwork, because like someone once told me, those who abandon the mission are scum. But those who abandon their teammates are worse than scum. The three stood there in silence, before quickly celebrating. Even Sasuke couldn't help but smile. With that, I declare Team 7 as official. Come tomorrow for our first mission, Kakashi said before walking off. They were all smiling, before the Hyuga heiress realized something. Hey, wait a minute. Where did you put my bento boxes? She yelled, but it was too late as the Cyclops was gone. And finally, what about your team, Kakashi? Irika said, looking up from his clipboard. It was then Kurenai and Asuma, who had given their reports on their own respective teams, looked at their fellow Jonin, curious if his team would be accepted. Hiruzen also looked at Kakashi, also curious. With his famous eye smile, he gave his report. Team 7 has passed, and I will gladly take them under my wing. Everyone was shocked. Kakashi finally passed a team? Wait, passed? They passed your bell test. Kurenai said, still shocked. They didn't get a single bell, but they demonstrated excellent teamwork. Everyone stood silent, before Hiruzen broke the silence. Well, that is good to hear. Everyone is dismissed. Except for you, Kakashi. Everyone then left, except for Kakashi. What is it, Hokage-sama? First things first, remember this. Naruto has an abundance of chakra and can use shadow clones. Use that to your advantage while training him. The Jonin nodded in understanding. Secondly, Hayashi wishes to see you. The Jonin raised an eyebrow. Now. Hiruzen nodded. Kakashi shrugged. Okay then. Is that all? Hiruzen nodded again. Okay then. As he went to the door, he turned around. Question, were you able to find anything on that ANBU that icked them yesterday? Holding back a sigh, Hiruzen simply stated, I'm afraid not. We've tried but found nothing. With a nod of understanding, Kakashi left and headed towards the Hyuga compound. Hayashi-sama, Kakashi is here, a Hyuga guard said. Send him in, Hayashi said plainly. It was then, said Jonin entered his office. You wish to see me? Hayashi nodded and motioned him to take a seat, to which the Cyclops did. Do you wish to know why I asked to see you, Kakashi? The Hyuga head said in a stoic manner. With a sigh, Kakashi gave his answer. If I had to venture a guess, I'd say it's about your eldest daughter? Hayashi nodded. Correct. My daughter has recently been called a prodigy, you no doubt are aware. I've only heard Kurenai talk about it, only 1,000 times, Kakashi said while rolling his eye. It was true. Ever since the girl defended herself from the Kumo ambassador and had been called a Hyuga prodigy, Kurenai couldn't help but be proud of the girl who she saw as a daughter and never stopped talking about it. He even remembered the disappointment she had when Hinata was assigned to him, instead of her, including the talk afterwards. Flashback. Kakashi. The Cyclops looked up from his book. Hey, Kurenai. What's up? I wish to talk about Hinata. The girl who could easily be mistaken for an Uchiha said. Ma, don't tell me you're jealous. Ignoring that remark, she continued, Look, all that I am asking is that you look after her. You know I care deeply for her, and if something were dash, Kakashi quickly cut her off. You have nothing to worry about, Kurenai. I promise I'll take care of her. Kurenai nodded. Thank you. And question, could you also stop reading smut when dash, Kakashi cut her off again. You're asking for too much. Flashback over. Ignoring the sarcastic remark, Hayashi continued. Yes, and I have looked up your reputation. Kakashi said nothing. Listen, I don't wish for her to become sloppy, just because you are lazy. All that I am asking is for you is to take her training seriously. Kakashi stared at the Hyuga head and then thought quietly about it. It was true. In recent years he had become lazy, but now, he is a sensei for 3 genins. And not just any 3 genin, but 3 exceptional ones. Naruto was a Jinchuriki for all 9 of the Biju and has shown, in the past, and today that he has good control over them. On top of that, he was Minato's and Kushina's son, even if he didn't know, and for him to be awful just because of his own laziness would be an insult to both. Sasuke was the last of the Uchiha clan, the clan of his long-dead friend Obito. For Sasuke to be an awful shinobi would not only be disrespectful to the once mighty clan, but an insult to his friend he had already failed beforehand, when he wasn't quick enough to save Rin from being executed by Kirinins. He failed his best friend once already. He refused to fail him again. Then there's Hinata, once a weak and pathetic excuse for a Hyuga, now a prodigy. For her to be sloppy is an insult. These three have huge amount of potential to rival the three legendary Sannin, if not surpass them. To waste it just cause he is lazy is stupid. Kakashi sighed. I have been getting rusty, very well. I shall take her, along with her teammates, training seriously. Hayashi, satisfied, spoke. Thank you, Kakashi, that is all. I'll make one, Naruto's whiskers. The 5-year-old blonde was staring into his mirror, touching his whiskers. Meanwhile, within Naruto, the Rokubi noticed that the blonde had whiskers. Huh, the blondie has whiskers. They look cute. Heh, I'll take credit for that. Matatabi said proudly. Kurama spoke up. Actually, those are cause of me. Thank you very much, he said in a matter-of-fact tone. The blue cat turned to her brother. And how would you know? She said. Because they were there, when I was sealed within in him, and his mother was my previous Jinchuriki, the fox said. And when exactly did you get a good look at him? Matatabi asked, getting more agitated. I don't have to tell you, he said, not liking his sister's tone. So you're admitting that you don't know? No, I'm not saying anything except that the whiskers are cause of me. And you're trying to steal credit from me, Matatabi said angrily. The fox yelled back. I'm not. The whiskers are because of me, not you, you pyromaniac. Cats are more associated with whiskers. That doesn't mean shit. Meanwhile, the young blonde boy put his hand over his stomach. Why my tummy feel weird? I'll make two, Hinata's mind. Hinata laid in her bed with one thing on her mind. Naruto-kun can fly. Her mind went wild with imagination. She quickly pulled her pillow away and grabbed her secret book. Hinata's book of fanfiction, featuring Naruto-kun 3, is what it said. Unlocking the book and flipping to a blank page, she quickly got to work. Cammy, writing this feels so embarrassing, but it feels so much more good that I don't care. She wrote her book and didn't leave her room for an entire week, except to eat. They were all waiting for Kakashi. Naruto sighed. Guys, I think that this is going to be a theme. Sasuke grunted. I heard that this guy was a powerful jonin. Don't know how, considering how late he is, he said bitterly. Hinata stopped eating her cinnamon buns. I'm sure he has a good reason. Naruto rolled his eyes. Yeah, he is probably reading that smut. Or is buying more. It was then Naruto sensed someone. Someone familiar. Naruto turned to a tree. His teammates noticed. What's wrong, Naruto-kun? Someone is there. Show yourself. The stranger complied and showed himself. Naruto squinted at the figure before realizing, hey, you're the guy from before. What are you doing? What did we do against you? The figure said nothing as he threw a dozen senbon at the trio. Naruto quickly used his sand to defend him and his teammates. Using this to his advantage, he orders several of his birds armed with explosive tags to charge at them. Team 7 noticed the birds and quickly moved to avoid them, and did so more quickly after the birds started exploding. Sasuke decided to rush at the figure, kunai in hand. His attempted stabbing was blocked by the figure's ninjato. While the figure was distracted by Sasuke, Naruto decided to run up and punch the figure. The figure landed into a tree and found himself encased in coral, binding him to the floor. Naruto then lifted the figure's mask, revealing a very pale boy. Who are you? Naruto asked. The figure didn't respond, even if he wanted to, which he didn't. The seal on his tongue prevented him. I said, who are dash? Naruto was cut off by a kunai armed with the explosive tag landing on the figure. Quickly, Naruto ran away and braced himself for the explosion that never came as it was a dud. Another figure appeared and quickly grabbed the encased figure and shunshin away. Damn it, he got away again, the Uchiha said angrily. Who did? The trio turned to see their sensei holding some papers. Kakashi-sensei, that guy from last time attacked us again. Naruto responded. The same? Are you sure? The blonde nodded. What is with this guy? The Jonin thought, okay, I'll fill these holes and we'll get into what we're doing today. After filling up the last hole, the Cyclops then walked to his students. Okay, now as for why I am late today, I'll get into that. The three rolled their eyes. I know, but trust me, I have a good excuse this time. He then continued, okay, after speaking with Hinata's father, I realized that if I continued to be lazy, your progress will be hindered and your potential wasted. So this is how this is going to work. Everyone looked and paid close attention. First, we'll arrive here and do some training. We'll work on stuff like chakra control, taijutsu, etc. Then at roughly 2 hours before noon, we'll do some missions, usually 3. Then we'll come back here and do some more training. After all that, we go home, come back tomorrow, and do it all over again. Sound good? They all nodded. Good. Now for why I am late. He then pulled out some papers. These are chakra papers. Pour some chakra into them, and we'll find out which natural element you have affinities for. Kakashi-sensei, how will we know which is which? The blonde asked. Simple. If your affinity is fire, the paper will burn. If it is water, the paper will become soggy. Earth crumple to dust. Lightning will make it crinkle, and wind will split it up. They all nodded, getting the concept. Okay, Naruto, you're first. Just pour some chakra into it. Naruto did just that, and the paper split into 3 parts. One part burst into flames, the other became soggy, and the last part turned into dust. The Uchiha didn't show it, but he was jealous of the blonde. Meanwhile, the Hyuga was surprised and a little happy for Naruto. Okay, you have 4. Unheard of, but I'm not complaining. You next, Sasuke. Sasuke nodded and did the same. His paper crinkled. Okay, now dash. Before Kakashi could finish, Naruto interrupted. Wait, if Sasuke's affinity is lightning, how can he use fire jutsus? The Biju within him sweat dropped at the blonde's idiocy. Kakashi chuckled. Everyone can use the elements, Naruto. Having a natural affinity for an element just means that using jutsus that use your affinity will hit harder and cost you less chakra. The blonde nodded. Anyways, you next, Hinata. Hinata did the same, and her paper crinkled. The Jonin smiled. Okay, let's go over. Naruto's affinities are wind, fire, water, and earth. Hinata's and Sasuke's are lightning, which is my specialty. Okay, next up, we're going to do a basic shinobi skill called tree walking. Before you guys say anything, using your affinities will come another day. Kakashi-sensei? Yes, Naruto? I already know how to tree walk, Naruto said while scratching the back of his head. Hinata then added, so do I. Kakashi stood silent, then I guess Sasuke will do tree walking and you two can help. The two nodded. All right, Sasuke, watch me. Kakashi then walked to a nearby tree and started walking on it. Eventually stopping on a nearby branch, pour some chakra into your feet. Sasuke then attempted to do just that, only to fail and fall face first into the ground. Naruto, alongside the Biju, couldn't help but burst out laughing at the Uchiha's expense. The Uchiha grew a tick mark, quit laughing. While Naruto's laughter died down, he tried his best to calm the raven-haired boy. I'm sorry, Sasuke. If it makes you feel better, that was also what happened to me when I attempted tree walking. The Uchiha did nothing but grunt. Kakashi looked over to Hinata. If it's not too much to ask, could you use your Byakugan and tell Sasuke if he is using too much or too little? The Hyuga nodded, activated her Byakugan. After multiple failed attempts, much to the Biju's amusement and the Uchiha's pain, Sasuke eventually got it down. Kakashi smiled and spoke, time for our first mission together. While Hinata and Sasuke looked excited, Naruto didn't, as he had already been told by his internal friends of the suckiness that is D-rank missions. Today we're painting a fence. Time skip. It had been half a month since Team 7 started doing missions. The worst thing about the missions wasn't the mission themselves, but the fact that ANBU-like figures would keep attacking them. Whether it was before the day started to the end of the day, they just kept attacking. Kakashi was walking to the Hokage's office and knocked on the door, with a scowl on his face. "Come in." Kakashi did just that, and as soon as he entered, Hiruzen sighed again. "Fifth time this week, and said week is only halfway over." With deep breath, Kakashi calmed himself. "Hokage-sama, I believe that these attacks are coming from the inside." "I believe so as well." "Hokage-sama, I request a mission outside of Konoha, so we can confirm our suspicions." Hiruzen then looked over his files. "The only out of Konoha mission I have is escorting a builder to the Land of Waves. It's C-ranked. I'll take it." "Kakashi, are you sure that your team can handle it?" Kakashi nodded. "I've been training them hard, and I believe that they are more than ready." "Very well. Your client, Tazuna, will meet you and your team at the entrance. Your job is to defend him." Kakashi nodded again. As Sasuke finished his spar with Hinata, Kakashi, along with Naruto, walked up to them. "Okay, today's missions is dash. No, no more D-rank missions. They are a waste of our time. We deserve a higher-ranked mission," the Uchiha said. Kakashi chuckled, remembering when Obito demanded a higher-ranked mission. "Well, you're in luck, 'cause I got us one. A C-rank mission. We'll be escorting a bridge builder to the Land of Waves." It was then that Naruto gasped. "Really?" he asked with excitement. "Yep, pack your things and meet up at the front entrance, okay?" They all nodded. As Naruto packed his things, excited to see the world outside the village, he decided to ask his friends a question. "Hey guys, when was the last time you all went outside of the village?" "It's been a few years. Give or take," Isabu replied. "Yeah, Jinchurikis are usually not sent out of the village for many reasons," Yuki added. "Really? Huh. Oh well, I just can't wait to see the world outside of the village." "Me too. I wonder what unique people we'll see," Saiken said, encouraging the blonde. "Shame that it's a escorting mission," Koko said. "Huh. In my experience, the person who you are escorting is usually an asshole," the horse added. "Same. I remember one time, my last Jinchuriki was escorting this guy who never stopped complaining and was so damn loud. I couldn't nap at all," Yuki said. Komi-I chuckled. "That's nothing. One time my Jinchuriki got this client that snored so loudly, my Jinchuriki didn't sleep until they escorted the guy home." "Our point is, Gaki, you're most likely going to dislike the client," Koko said. "Oh." As Team 7 walked towards the entrance, Kakashi greeted their client. "Hello there, Tazuna. We're going to be escorting you," he said while smiling. Tazuna looked at the people who he had apparently hired. "Are you kidding me? You are the people I paid for. You are ninja? You all look like a bunch of misfits. Especially you, Whiskers." The blonde gave the man an angry glare. "You were right, guys. I don't like this guy at all." "Wow, the first minute of meeting him. I don't know about you guys, but that's a record for me," Koko said. Hinata quickly defended her crush's honor. "Naruto-kun is not a misfit. He is a very kind and very dedicated person." Tazuna scoffed. "Sure he is. You pale-eyed freak." Tazuna then turned to Sasuke. "And don't get me started on you, emo." The Uchiha clenched his fists. By this point, the blonde had enough of his friends being insulted and let off a bit of killer intent. "You would do well to remember that you are paying us to defend you." The builder gulped. Kakashi reassured him. "Look, trust me, I trained them personally. You have nothing to worry about." Tazuna sighed. "Fine, let's go, I guess." Then they all went off to the Land of Waves. Omake, Taro the cat. "Okay, everyone. Hope you're ready for the bane of all genin. Catching the fire daimyo wife's cat." "Tora," Kakashi said. "What makes this mission difficult?" Hinata asked while raising an eyebrow. Multiple things. Tora is hard to find and equally hard to catch. Even if you do catch her, she will scratch you mercilessly. I remember when I first did this mission. Let me tell you, she is a cat straight from Hidash." "Question," Naruto said while raising his hand. "What is it, Naruto?" "Is this her?" he said while raising said cat. "I don't know what you are talking about. She seems very friendly." Kakashi stood silent. The cat purred against the blonde. Ah, come on, let's take you back to your owner. The cat hissed. Oh, she is mistreating you? Well, I promise that I will fix that, he said, which calmed the cat. As the blonde took off, his sensei continued to stand there confused, but, that's how. It was then, like a punch from Guy, it hit him the Biju, one of them is a cat. Which means. Kakashi then started sobbing heavily. Is there something wrong? Hinata asked. 3. Fucking. Years. Later, in a place far away from Konoha and inside a cave, a half-black, half-white creature gave his report to a certain orange-masked individual. Impossible. The Torah mission is impossible to complete without a scratch, the masked man said angrily. We saw it with both of our eyes. The black part said, yes, I think because the boy has the nibby within him, the cat takes a liking to him. The white half added. Zetsu, that is. It was then the masked man thought about it for a while, realizing that it made sense. The masked man clenched his fists. 3 years. Huh, what was that? 3 fucking years, the masked man said while slamming his fists to the wall. The walk was pretty boring, all things considered. Tazuna, along with Team 7, walked towards their destination, not even being stopped by bandits. Sasuke was disappointed, to say the least. He expected more. He was hoping for some action. He sighed. The road was still a long way from their destination. Maybe some action will come soon. Meanwhile, Naruto was humming, until a blue cat called out to him. Naruto. Matatabi called out. What is it? I sense 2 people up ahead, and they give off evil intentions. Thanks, Matatabi. Naruto pulled on his sensei's clothes. Kakashi looked down to his student. What is it, Naruto? Kakashi-sensei, I detect 2 people up ahead. I think they're trouble. Everyone heard him, and Tazuna started sweating. Thank you, Naruto. I'll go take the lead. As they approached the oncoming, they noticed a puddle. Hinata grew suspicious and activated her Byakugan Jinjutsu. It was then 2 figures jumped out and threw their chains at the Cyclops. In an instant, they killed Kakashi. Kakashi-sensei, Sasuke yelled. Hinata, Naruto yelled out to his teammate, guard Tazuna, Sasuke, and I will deal with these 2. The Byakugan princess nodded in understanding. Naruto ran up to Sasuke. Sasuke, you get the one on the left, I'll handle the one on the right. The Uchiha nodded and charged at his target. Meanwhile, Naruto pulled out his bamboo jug and pulled out its pipe and blew into it. Meanwhile, within Naruto, Kokuo looked at his 3 still caged siblings. You know, it would be really nice for all of us if you 3 quit being so damn stubborn and helped. Shikaku was the first to respond. I'll help, when I feel like it. Then Son Goku, when he is strong enough, then I'll lend him my full power. Kurama said nothing and just continued to lay down. Matatabi sighed, stubborn jackasses. As the bubbles flew towards the figure, said figure laughed, Bubbles? You think bubbles will stop me? Naruto smirked. Yes, he then pulled out some senbons because they are all filled with acid. He then threw his senbons at the bubbles, popping all of them. As the figure screamed in pain, Naruto ran over to him and punched him. Then he encased him in coral. The blonde looked over to see that his other teammate had dealt with his opponent. Good work, Sasuke, he said while smiling. Sasuke did nothing but smirked. By the way, you can come out, Kakashi-sensei. Kakashi did just that. When did you find out? The second, you substituted yourself with a clone. Fair enough. Anyways, we're glossing over the most important thing. Team 7 looked at their sensei, while Tazuna started sweating bullets. These are the Demon Brothers, a couple of missing means from Kiri. Now Kakashi walked towards their client. Why were 2 infamous missing mean waiting for us? Tazuna sighed. Fine, I guess there's no hiding it now. My home. The wave is under the boot of Gato. Yes, the same Gato of Gato Company. He has bought the ports of my home and is bleeding us dry. I plan on making a bridge to connect us to the mainland. Obviously, he is not a fan. You paid for AC rank mission. This is clearly AB rank, bordering A rank. I have half a mind to turn back now. Please, mister. I beg you. I will pay you all later, I promise. Kakashi sighed. This mission is clearly dangerous, and they should turn back now. But then they couldn't confirm their suspicions on the Yanbu attacks coming from Konoha. He looked to his students, guys. We can handle it, Kakashi-sensei, the blonde declared, and his teammates nodded in agreement. Very well, we shall continue. Thank you so very much. Come everyone, let's get going. After much more walking, they finally made to Wave, and they also noticed a bunch of mist. Just a boat ride across, and we'll be there, Tazuna said. Thank Kami, my feet are killing me, Naruto exclaimed. It was then, Naruto sensed someone. Okay, whoever you are, show yourself. Upon him saying this, everyone readied themselves. Fine, take this. Naruto then threw a kunai at a nearby bush. A white bunny then popped out. Naruto was about to be upset when he realized something. Kakashi noticed too. Everyone duck. A sword then was flown into a nearby tree, and then a man wearing bandages appeared. Ah, it's nice to meet you, Kakashi of the Sharingan, the man said. Zabuza, demon of the mist, I wish I could say the same. Kakashi replied. Ah, my reputation precedes me. Well then, you should know that it's better to just hand the old man over. To hell with that. We're not going to hand him over to the likes of you, Naruto exclaimed. Zabuza looked towards the blonde and then chuckled. You don't realize just who you are messing with, kid. Neither do you. Guys, stand back and defend Tazuna. I'll handle him, Kakashi said as he lifted his headband, revealing a fully matured Sharingan. Sasuke said nothing. He was already aware of Kakashi's Sharingan. Ah, Sharingan already, I'm honored. Kakashi then charged at Zabuza with a kunai, attempting to end the fight quickly. Zabuza quickly jumped back into the mist. Hinata activated her Byakugan to help her sensei, and realized something. Kakashi-sensei, this mist is chakra-laced. Kakashi quickly caught on to what this meant and made some hand seals. Great breakthrough. The mist scattered away, revealing Zabuza. Damn, no matter. This won't help you. He then charged at Kakashi. Kakashi dodged the attempted strikes and eventually tricked Zabuza into stabbing the ground, getting his sword stuck. Quickly appearing behind the missing Nin, Kakashi quickly put a kunai to his throat. You lose. The demon of the mist did nothing but chuckle. I wouldn't be so sure if I was you, he said before dissolving. Water clone. It was then Kakashi was kicked into a body of water. Water prison jutsu. Kakashi got up and realized his situation. Zabuza then made a water clone. Prepare yourself, cause after the clone kills Tazuna and your brats, you're next. Oh, I think they can handle a clone. The blonde one especially. Zabuza raised an eyebrow at this, confused on why Kakashi specified the blonde. Meanwhile, as the Zabuza clone head towards the group, Naruto quickly came up with a plan. Hinata, Sasuke, you both try and free Kakashi, I'll defend Tazuna. The two said nothing. They just immediately went to try and free their sensei. Dumb move, kid. You're outmatched here, the clone said. Naruto smirked. True, I'm outmatched in terms of skill. He then made some hand seals, but luckily I can make up for it in numbers. Multi-shadow clone jutsu. 15 clones of Naruto then appeared. The original Zabuza went wide-eyed. Impossible. Most jonin struggle to maintain 10 clones, and this Jinin made 15. He also noticed that the clones were steaming. Using boil release to increase their speed, the shadow clones overwhelmed the water clone. Zabuza made 3 additional water clones and threw some Senbons at the blonde for good measure. Said Senbons were blocked by Naruto's sand. He can control sand too? What the hell is this kid? The 3 water clones charged at the kid, who covered the client in a sand dome to keep him safe, and sprouted wings and took flight. Naruto then made some hand seals molten rocks and shot a couple of molten rocks out of his mouth. They successfully made their targets and the clones evaporated. Zabuza was now distracted, not understanding what the hell was going on, and a certain raven-haired boy used this to his advantage. Phoenix Fire Jutsu. Unfortunately, Zabuza was still composed enough to react water wall, and the fire jutsu was successfully blocked. Kid, I use water jutsus. What made you think that a fire jutsu would have hit me? Sasuke smirked. HN. Who said it was my intention to hit you? Zabuza was about to question the Uchiha on what he meant when his answer arrived, 8 trigram, 64 palms. Zabuza looked behind him and saw the Hyuga with her Byakugan activated shit. 2 palms, for palms, 8 palms, 16 palms. The Hyuga's hits had all landed and the demon of the mist was sent flying into tree. The water prison then dissolved. Thanks for the assistance. Zabuza groaned in pain. Shit, my chakra has been blocked off. Haku, wherever you are, I need assistance now. Kakashi then walked towards the down Zabuza now to finish dash. It was then that 3 senbons pierced Zabuza's neck. It was then a masked figure came out of a tree. Thank you for your assistance. I will deal with Zabuza now. I will contact fellow Hunter Neens and let them know of your assistance. Expect compensation for this, tomorrow. Hinata had found this supposed Hunter Neen suspicious and activated her Byakugan. Kakashi, Zabuza's still alive. Finding out that he had been caught, the fake Hunter Neen threw senbons at the Byakugan and threw a smoke bomb to make his escape along with Zabuza. The senbon were blocked by Naruto's sand, and the Hyuga turned to her crush. Thank you, Naruto-kun. Kakashi covered his Sharingan. Okay, then let's get to Zuna's house and rest. They all nodded. After settling down in a separate room, Kakashi had settled down along with his students. Okay, let's go over some things. It is likely that Zabuza, along with his fake Hunter Neen, will come back to try and end Zuna's life. So to prepare, we're going to have to train more hard than we usually do train. They nodded in understanding. Tomorrow, we'll be training ourselves to the absolute limits. I'll make Chidori with a Byakugan. Kakashi walked up to Hinata. Hey, Hinata. The Hyuga looked up from her book labeled, Totally Not Fanfiction, I wrote, and quickly closed it. Yes, Kakashi-sensei. I've always wondered something. You see, my Chidori needs a Sharingan in order not get tunnel vision, but I've always wondered if the Byakugan could do the same. Hinata placed some fingers on her chin. I see. You wish to satiate your curiosity with me? Precisely. Yuen. Hinata shrugged. Sure, why not? After Kakashi taught Hinata the hand seals for the Chidori and setting up a dummy, they were ready. Hinata took a deep breath and activated her Byakugan, then started making the required hand seals Chidori. She then ran towards her target, destroy the dummy. Kakashi walked up to Hinata. So, did it work? Instead of replying, Hinata covered up her mouth. She quickly ran up to a nearby tree and threw up. After a non-stop minute of puking, Hinata passed out. Kakashi stood there silently. Okay, it's clear that the Byakugan makes the tunnel vision much worse. I should get her to a hospital. As Naruto dodged Sasuke punches and retaliated with his own, Kakashi couldn't help but smile. Naruto's unique taijutsu style that he created himself had came a long way. Ever since Hinata, and recently him and Sasuke, started helping him develop it. Sure, Naruto still hadn't thought of a name for it yet, but no one is perfect. The taijutsu itself was very unique, primarily focusing on heavy strikes and blows, while taking advantage of any openings that came. Kakashi described it as animal-like, like predator attacking prey, heavily stamina draining, but for someone like Naruto, stamina isn't an issue. Meanwhile, as the spar dragged on, Sasuke became more and more frustrated. Damn it, I can't lose. If I do, it means that I am the weakest link that is holding everyone back. As Naruto kept attacking him, Sasuke's frustration only grew, until finally, something awoke. Sasuke quickly dodged Naruto's punch and retaliated with his own. This had caught the blonde off guard, but he recomposed himself and continued attacking. Sasuke found himself predicting his teammates' movements and dodging them just as easily. However, this did not last, as the blonde was able to get behind the Uchiha and attack from there. Sasuke fell face first into the ground. As the blonde went over to help his teammate up, he noticed something. Guess that explains why you suddenly became great at dodging. Sasuke raised an eyebrow. What are you talking about? Smiling, the blonde pointed at his own eyes. They've awoken Sasuke. Realizing what the blonde meant, he quickly ran over to the nearby lake to see his reflection. And sure enough, there it was. A one-tomo Sharingan. Sasuke couldn't help but smile. Kakashi then spoke up. Well, this is great. Yeah, the blonde replied. Now Sasuke can finally keep up, he said smugly. The Uchiha couldn't help but chuckle. Damn right. Now you'll be the one who has to catch up. Meanwhile, the Biju were less than happy about the Uchiha unlocking those cursed eyes but decided not to say anything. But one Son Goku had something on his mind. While the Uchiha unlocking his clan's eyes is unfortunate, I cannot deny that for the Gaki to force the Uchiha to unlock them means that the kid is very powerful. Maybe I should know? At least, not yet. Well, this changes some things. Naruto. Yes, Kakashi-sensei. I was originally going to help Hinata with an idea she had, but now that Sasuke has unlocked his Sharingan, I have to train him. Is it okay if I ask you to help Hinata? The blonde smiled, of course not. I will gladly help Hinata. Said girl couldn't help but blush at the thought of spending more time with her crush. So Hinata, what's this idea you have? The blonde asked. Well, you know how my affinity is lightning. The blonde nodded in response. And do you know of my clan's gentle fist? The blonde chuckled. How could I not? When you're not kicking my butt with it, you're kicking Sasuke's. The Hyuga princess couldn't help but giggle at her crush's remark. Well, I had a plan on combining the gentle fist with lightning release. Like the heavenly rotation. That sounds amazing, Hinata. Thank you, Naruto-kun. Anyways, enough talking, let's do this. Naruto said with a look of determination. It had been few days since Team 7 started training, and had amazing progress. Sasuke had been able to use his Sharingan to the best of his abilities. He still only had one Tomo, but that was okay. He was confident that he would get his second soon. Meanwhile, Hinata's combination with the gentle fist and lightning release had gone exceedingly well. It was then Naruto said something, I'll be back. Kakashi raised an eyebrow, going somewhere? Bathroom. Oh, well, okay then. The blonde nodded. After doing business, Naruto noticed a bunch of flowers. They weirdly reminded him of Hinata. Maybe I will get some for her. And she will die of embarrassment. Koko said. Huh? Nothing. The blonde shrugged and went to pick up the flowers. As he did, a certain boy made himself know. Oh, didn't expect to see someone else here. The blonde turned around to see a girl. By the way, I'm a boy. A boy with black hair. Yes, I was picking these for my teammate. Oh, is your teammate a special person? Haku, by the way. Naruto. And yeah, she is the heiress of the Hyuga clan, so I'd say that she is special. The boy giggled. That's not what I meant. It was then Haku realized something. This is the kid Master Zabuza told me to eliminate. Well, if you are looking for more of those flowers, there are more over there. Really? Thanks. The blonde then walked over and saw that there were indeed more of them. As the blonde picked the flowers, Haku readied his blade. I can't kill him. I don't have it in me. Maybe I can cripple him. He then went for his arm. The attack was for naught as his blade was blocked by a layer of sand. The blonde chuckled. You know, you should get into acting. Not only do you play a seemingly friendly stranger well, the blonde looked at Haku in the face, but also a pretty good hunter Nin. Haku then quickly jumped back. How? The blonde chuckled again. Let's just say that it pays to have friends. Haku scoffed. Doesn't matter. Tazuna will be dead on that bridge by the end of this month. You'll have to get through us first. Haku then threw a smoke bomb, completely messing up the blonde's senses. As the smoke cleared, the blonde only had one thing on his mind. I need to inform the others. Kakashi-sensei. Everyone turned to the blonde. What is it, Naruto? That fake hunter Nin, I met him. Naruto, are you okay? The blonde nodded. Yeah, but that's not important. He gave me a date for when he and Zabuza would attack. End of this month. Crap, Kakashi cursed. That's only a week from today. Okay, we're going to be training twice as hard. Everyone nodded. Hinata then noticed something. Naruto-kun, are those flowers? She looked closely to notice that they were a very rare breed. one she was hoping to add to her collection. Naruto then realized, oh yeah, I saw theses and they reminded me of you, Hinata. I thought you would enjoy them, he said while handing them to her. Were Hinata still her very shy self, she probably would have fainted at her crush giving her flowers. Instead, she happily accepted them. Hinata blushed and smiled. Thank you, Naruto-kun. I love them very much. And then he said it pays to have friends, Haku said. Zabuza raised an eyebrow. What does that mean? I have no idea. Zabuza sighed. Just what is that, kid? After a nice dinner and a brief argument with Tezuna's grandson, Inari, Team 7 sat. Okay, tomorrow is when Zabuza and this Haku will attack. I just hope we are all prepared. Kakashi said, here's our role. Sasuke, since Hinata and Naruto already did, you will be defending Tezuna. I'll deal with Zabuza and Naruto, and Hinata will deal with Haku. Remember, if he is good enough for Zabuza to take him under his wing, he is clearly dangerous. Naruto then pointed out something. Kakashi-sensei, what about Tezuna's family? Surely they're in danger too. Kakashi cursed underneath his breath. Crap. Okay, Hinata, you stay here and defend Tezuna's family. Hinata nodded. Okay, let's hope for the best. As Hinata sat with Tsunami and Inari, the young kid decided to ask the Byakugan princess a question. Do you think he'll be okay? Hinata looked down and gave her answer. Yes, because Naruto is someone who never gives up. The odds were usually stacked against him, and he always came out on top. Tsunami became curious. How were they stacked against him? Hinata frowned. Few people believed in him, and people usually mistreated him, especially our senseis at the academy. Hinata smiled, but despite all that, he persevered and came out on top. Tsunami became more curious. He was mistreated? Why? He seems like a nice boy. Hinata sighed. I wish I knew. He was always treated like a monster for as long as I knew. And every time I tried to find out, I came up empty. My father would always say that he is dangerous. But Naruto-kun is one of the nicest people I know. Tsunami smiled. Sounds like you care a lot about him. Hinata blushed. I do. It's because of him that I became inspired to be better than I was, to overcome my odds. Tsunami giggled. Do you have any feelings for him? Before Hinata could respond, the door opened. Two figures walked into the room. On order of Gato, you will come with us, one of them said. The other licked his lips, or else. Hinata got up and then activated her Byakugan. They're going nowhere. The two men chuckled and rushed straight at her. Channeling lightning through her body, she made her attack. Kaiten, the spin had threw the two thugs away, which sending shocks through their bodies. As the two laid unconscious, Inari ran up to her. Thank you. She smiled. You're welcome. I'm happy to help. You should go and help your team. Tsunami said, we can find a place to hide. As the mist appeared, everyone prepared. Sasuke activated his new fresh Two-Tomo Sharingan. It was then Zabuza and Haku showed themselves. Last chance, Kakashi. Hand over Tezuna, and everyone else lives. Zabuza said. Kakashi pulled out a kunai. Sorry, but the answer is still no. Very well, Haku, deal with Blondie. Yes, Zabuza-sama. Haku then rushed at Naruto. The two eventually left the bridge. Before we begin, I have a question. Kakashi raised an eyebrow. What the hell is up with the kid? Why is he so powerful? Kakashi debated on whether telling the missing Nin. Screw it. Dead men tell no tales, and no one else is within hearing distance. Let's give this demon a scare. Kakashi then gave his answer. Well, Zabuza, you know how Konoha has all 9 of the Biju. Ah, he's a Jinchuriki. Which one? Kakashi chuckled. I'm getting there. Zabuza raised an eyebrow. You see, Zabuza, around the kid's birth, we at Konoha were facing a problem. All of our Jinchuriki were getting old, and we couldn't find replacements. This got Zabuza more curious. But then Naruto was born, and we looked at him and decided, hey, why don't we seal all of the Biju within him? Zabuza went wide-eyed, and Kakashi continued, and the results have not been disappointing. Zabuza wanted to call out Kakashi for lying, but he couldn't. Deep down he knew, it was the truth. I need to help, Haku. He attempted to get to his tool, only to be blocked by the copy Nin, who chuckled, "Where do you think you're going?" He then lifted his headband, "Your fight's with me." Haku attempted to end the fight without bloodshed. "This is pointless. Just give up." Many people have said that to me, and it has worked 0 times. Sighing, Haku then readied his blade very well. Haku charged at Naruto, who quickly dodged the attack and retaliated Phoenix Fire Jutsu. Haku narrowly dodged the attack and made some hand seals, Water Shuriken Jutsu, launching multiple water shurikens. Naruto quickly reacted, using his sand to block it. Naruto quickly poured his chakra into the sand to dry it off. It was then another person joined the party, Great Fireball Jutsu. The fireball hit Haku, launching him back. Naruto knew who the jutsu belonged to and looked towards his teammate Sasuke. "What the hell?" Don't worry. Hinata got Tsunami and Inari somewhere safe and is currently defending Tazuna. Besides, couldn't let you have all the fun. Sighing, Naruto decided not to protest. "Okay, come on then." Haku got up and looked at his new opponent. "Ah, I see you have your clan's Kekkei Genkai, Uchiha. Pretty nice. Would you like to see my clan's Kekkei Genkai?" The boys were stunned by what the fake Hunter Nin said. Ice spears. A bunch of ice then sprouted from the ground, heading towards the duo. Said duo quickly dodged. Sasuke made some hand seals, Great Fireball Jutsu, and Naruto quickly made hand seals of his own air bullet. The air jutsu combined with the fire jutsu to increase its speed. Crystal Wall, the ice user responded. The ice wall blocked the fireball. "It seems I have no choice." The ice user ran up to the 2 demonic mirroring ice crystals. The 2 found themselves surrounded by a bunch of ice. "This is my clan's most famous technique. This battle is over. Give up and I will spare you," Haku said. "Like hell, we will fireball jutsu," Sasuke yelled. The fireball did nothing against the ice mirror, much to the shock of Naruto and Sasuke. "My ice is much too powerful for fire jutsus," the ice user said before throwing a bunch of senbons at them. The 2 narrowly avoided the senbons. Naruto. "Huh. It's me, Son Goku. You're busy, so I'll make this quick. I have decided to lend you my full power. You have impressed me. I see you as worthy of it." "Thanks, but I can't exactly unlock your cage right now." "Naruto, look out," his raven-haired teammate yelled. Before Naruto could react, he was pelted by a barrage of senbon, knocking him out. Naruto woke up and found himself in his mindscape. Son Goku quickly spoke. "Naruto, there's no time. Unlock my seal, and the burst of chakra should wake you up." Naruto said nothing and quickly did just that. Naruto woke up and found his teammate looking over him. "Thank Kami, you're alive." Naruto said nothing but got up. Impossible, the ice user thought. That should have knocked him into a death-like state. Naruto made some hand seals, Great Molten Rock. It was then a giant rock of molten lava came out of the Jinchuriki's mouth. The rock destroyed the mirrors, freeing the duo. "Thanks, Goku." Haku dropped his blade and fell on his knees. Naruto and Sasuke walked towards him. Haku looked up them. "I'm no longer useful," ended. Reluctantly, Naruto complied, and so did Sasuke. The duo started making hand seals. Before they could finish, a crackling of lightning was heard. "Maybe I can still be of use." Haku then threw a smoke bomb. "Kami, damn it," the blonde yelled. When the smoke cleared, Naruto sensed where Haku was and went after. Sasuke followed. Chidori. Zabuza closed his eyes, preparing for his death. Only it never came. Zabuza opened his eyes. It was Haku with a hand through his chest. Everyone stood silent, including Sasuke and Naruto when they arrived. Haku looked up at Zabuza for the last time. "Thank you, Zabuza-sama, for saving me. I'm glad to have served you." Haku then fell forward. Everyone continued to stay silent. Zabuza then shed a tear. Haku. The tone of the area was completely changed by a laugh. Everyone turned their attention towards the source, a short man with a cane. That was a spectacle. "Gato, Tazuna said. Zabuza then realized the group of thugs behind the businessman. Gato, what the hell is the meaning of this? Simply put, you are too expensive. I can get much more done with a bunch of thugs, and for cheaper too. You bastard. It's nothing personal, I swear. It's just business. Zabuza then turned to Kakashi Truce. Kakashi looked at Zabuza. Fuck it, fine. Gato then pointed his cane. Kill them all. Bonus for whoever gets me Tazuna's head. After a very intense battle, Gato stood at the mercy of the demon of the mist. Wait dash. Zabuza didn't and knocked Gato off the bridge. Everyone stood silent. Zabuza then looked at Haku one last time. I'm sorry for getting you involved with me. The demon of the mist then succumbed to his injuries. Naruto then held on to his sensei. His sensei responded, I know Naruto. I know. I didn't even know them, but still, seeing them die is. Death is never easy, Naruto. Trust me, I would know. Team 7 had set up camp. After the bridge was finished, they said their goodbyes and headed home. Naruto was enjoying the food. Hinata made, you know, whoever marries you is going to be the luckiest man alive. Hinata blushed, thanks. As the group stood silent, Naruto sighed. Sasuke looked over to his blonde teammate. What's wrong? Guys, I want to tell you now. Sasuke and Hinata turned their full attention towards Naruto. They had attempted multiple times to find out why Naruto had so much power through asking him, and the closest thing to an answer they got was, it's the same reason I'm seemingly feared by everyone, and that he would tell them another time. They tried to get answers through Kakashi, who said that while he did know the answer, he couldn't say it, and that ultimately, the only way to find out was to wait for Naruto to tell them. He also said, when Naruto decides to tell you, whatever he says, do not think any differently about him. Kakashi looked up from his book. Naruto, are you sure that you wish to tell them now? Naruto nodded. Okay, but before you do, Sasuke and Hinata, remember what I said. With a heavy sigh, Naruto started to explain his Jinchuriki status, about the bijus and everything. Silence filled the sight. Naruto looked down sadly. He then noticed something. Hinata had wrapped her arms around the blonde's neck and was crying, it's unfair. This caught the blonde off guard, huh? It's unfair how they treat you. You are the only thing that keeps us from destruction by bijus every day. You should be treated like a hero, not a monster. Hinata. Well, whatever. I don't care what anyone says. You're a hero in my book, Naruto-kun. Thank you, Hinata. Naruto then looked over to his other teammate. The knowledge I now possess doesn't change my opinion on you, the Uchiha reassured. The blonde smiled, thanks, Sasuke. Kakashi smiled, happy that nothing had changed and the team would still be together as one. When the entrance to Konoha became visible, Naruto couldn't help but sigh home sweet home. As soon as Team 7 entered, they suddenly heard dynamic entry. It was then a green spandex-wearing individual with bushy eyebrows came out of nowhere and kicked Sasuke in the face. Sasuke, his teammates yelled out. Huh, my youth shines brightly. Second to dash, the individual was unable to finish as he suddenly found himself suddenly encased in a bunch of sand. It was then Naruto, with anger in his eyes, spoke, I don't know who you are, but since you attacked my friend for no reason, you are in for a world of hurt. Naruto was unable to deliver on his word, as another individual, who looked very similar, riding a turtle came out of nowhere and delivered a punch towards the attacker in the face, knocking him out of Naruto's sand. Sasuke then got up, rubbing his nose. Naruto completely forgot what he saw. Sasuke, are you okay? He asked, genuinely worried for his friend. Yeah, I'll be fine. Lee. Everyone turned their attention to the green spandex individuals. Guy-sensei, the now identified Lee yelled back. You can't just randomly attack people. Guy said. I'm sorry, Guy-sensei. I shall do 150 laps around Konoha, then 150 push-ups with my pinky to make up for it. Lee. Guy-sensei. Lee. Guy-sensei. The two then embraced in a hug, and a flash of light suddenly appeared. Hinata was caught off guard. What the dash? How are they doing this? Sasuke yelled. Guys, dispel this, I beg you. Naruto begged his Biju friends. We're trying, but nothing is working, Yuki said. What sort of jinjutsu is this? Isabu yelled. My eyes, Saiken cried out. Eventually the hug was over, and Guy turned around to see his eternal rival. Well, if it isn't Kakashi. Oh, hey Guy, how have you been? While Guy and Kakashi conversed, Naruto noticed that the turtle Guy rode was staring at him. Hey, do you contain the Sanbai? Naruto was caught off guard by the talking turtle before realizing that it was likely a summon. Yes, I'm his Jinchuriki, among others. Why? HMP. Well, make sure that he knows his place, the turtle said before poofing. Isabu, what was that about? Long story short, we don't get along with our summon counterparts. We? As in, all of you. The Biju all gave various forms of yes. So I should avoid getting into any summoning contract with your animal counterparts. Yes, that would be very wise, Gaki, Yuki replied. And I see that these are why you've been a lot less lazy, huh? Guy said with a smile. Kakashi nodded. Yep, I've been training them hard. Oh, have you? Guy said with a smirk. Oh boy, I know that smirk. Say Kakashi, how about a nice little spar? My team versus your team. Loser buys the winner's lunch, his team included. Kakashi hummed to himself. I'll do you one better. How about a 1v1 tournament at Training Ground 15 with Kurenai's and Asuma's team too? The winner is whoever team she is a part of. And the 3 losers by the lunch? Tomorrow, though, I have to give a mission report. You're on. I shall inform the others. And with that, Guy took off. Leaded soon after. Kakashi looked down to his students. I'll give the report, and you'll get your pay soon after. In the meantime, start training for tomorrow. They all nodded and took off. Hiruzen looked over the report Kakashi gave. I see. Well then, they'll be compensated with an A-rank payment. Good to hear. Silence filled the room. So, did any A and BU-like figures attack you while on this mission? Kakashi shook his head no. Then that confirms that the attacks are indeed coming from Konoha Hiruzen's side, and I think I have a pretty good idea from who. Should I dash? No, I'll handle it. Kakashi nodded in understanding and was about to exit when suddenly, Kakashi, I'm curious as to if you plan on enrolling your team in the Chunin exams. I haven't decided on it yet, but I'm sure I'll make up my mind in about 5 months, was it? Hiruzen nodded. Yeah, I'm sure my mind will be made up. Tomorrow had came, and a certain busta blonde was rubbing her head as she walked through her old home. Ugh, still can't believe I'm back here, she groaned. Meanwhile, her apprentice, while carrying a pig, reassured her, admit it, you're happy deep down. Her pig then oinked. Tsunade sighed. Deep down she was. After finally accepting her love's death and getting over her fear of blood, after saving someone who was critically injured after someone else had begged her, Shizune convinced her that now would probably be a good time to go home. It took a lot of arguing and convincing, but eventually, Tsunade caved. They continued walking towards her sensei's office, when suddenly someone bumped into her. Tsunade looked down and went wide-eyed at who she saw. Arg, sorry for that. I was in a rush. Mini flashback. Arg, sorry for that, Onizen. I was in a rush. End of mini flashback. Tsunade cupped her mouth and held back her tears. Nanawaki. The blonde raised an eyebrow. Huh? Tsunade shook her head. Sorry, you just reminded me of someone, she said sadly. Oh. Ah fuck. What's wrong, Saiken? Naruto asked, curious as to what caused the usually cheerful slug to be so upset. It's one of the slug summoners. Tsunade, Saiken replied bitterly. Really? Yep. Kami, I hope she doesn't summon that whore, Katsuo. Hey, aren't you Tsunade? The blonde asked cheerfully. Oh, you've heard of me. Tsunade said while smiling. Yes, it is I, Senju Tsunade, granddaughter of Senju Hashirama, the best medic nin in the world and slug princess. Naruto raised an eyebrow. Aren't you a bit old to call yourself a princess? Tsunade grew a tick mark and raised her fist. Oh boy, Shizen said. Before the punch could land, Naruto used his sand to block it. Much to the surprise of Tsunade and Shizun, it is clear that I've said something that you've taken the wrong way. So let me rephrase and be clear. Naruto then coughed. Aren't you, a full-grown adult, a bit too old to call yourself a princess? And what would you call me? Slug Queen. Tsunade was about to retort, but then realized that Slug Queen was cooler than Slug Princess. Crap. Well, it was nice meeting you, Tsunade, but I have to go. I hope we can talk again. The blonde smiled in a way that reminded her more of her long-lost brother. As the blonde took off, Tsunade yelled, "Wait." The blonde stopped and looked back at the Sannin. What's your name, brat? The blonde grinned. Uzumaki Naruto, future Hokage. He then took off. Shizun looked at Tsunade. With that sand, it's obvious that he is a. Tsunade sighed. Yeah, poor kid. Yeah, but he looks happy. Tsunade smiled. Yeah, he does. A knock on the door disturbed Hiruzen's misery. Come in. It was then two figures, plus a pig, walked in. Hiruzen smiled. It's nice to see you again, Tsunade. I'm glad that you decided to return. Hey, Hiruzen-sensei. It's great to be back, I guess. So, how was your return to Konoha? Tsunade shrugged. Meh, nothing has changed much. The most eventful thing was that I passed by a Jinchuriki. Ah, so you've met Naruto? Tsunade and Shizun were caught off guard by what the professor said. Konoha had 9 Jinchurikis, right? One for each Biju? How did Hiruzen know that she was talking about him specifically? Curious, she raised an eyebrow. How did you know which one I was talking about? Because currently, Naruto is our only Jinchuriki. This only made her more curious, explain. Hiruzen sighed. I suppose I should catch you up to speed. Hiruzen then told the slug Sannin everything. Tsunade and Shizun stood there in shock. Shizun then spoke all of them. Hiruzen nodded. Tsunade then felt sad over the blonde that reminded her of her brother, poor kid. Yes, but rest assured, even though he had a rough childhood, he has persevered and has made many friends. Tsunade smiled. Anyways, now that you are back in Konoha, would you consider taking this hat? Please, I beg you. Tsunade sighed. I'll think about it. For now, I'm going to head towards the hospital. See how it's been. Naruto had finally arrived at Training Ground 15. Sorry, my alarm died. Asuma's sweat dropped. Oh dear, Kami. Kakashi is spreading his lateness and his lame excuses to the next generation. Kami, save us all. Kurenai added. Ma, come on, guys. Enough talking, Guy exclaimed. Ugh, this guy's yelling is troublesome. Oh, hey, Shikamaru. Hey, Naruto. Let us begin. Kakashi sighed. This is how this will work. He then pulled out a box. We'll draw 2 names, and the 2 shall fight. Whoever loses, their name will be removed. And then rinse and repeat until there is only one. Kakashi then handed the box to Kurenai. We'll take turns. You first, then Asuma, then me, then Guy, and then back to you. Kurenai sighed and took the box. She shook it and took out 2 names. Up first is Lee and Naruto. YSH, prepare to see my burning youth in action, Uzumaki Naruto. Lee said. Naruto stood silent. You're a freaking weirdo. The 2 then entered the marked area that was clearly the arena. Ring out rules, by the way, Asuma said. The 2 fighters nodded. Lee then took his taijutsu stance. Seeing this, Naruto took his. Guy raised an eyebrow at this. I've never seen this type of pose before. Oh, it's a taijutsu Naruto made himself. He hasn't come up a name for it yet, so don't ask. Ah, interesting. I'm curious as to what it'll look like in combat. Well, let us all see for ourselves, Hajime. Lee, at speeds that surprised everyone, ran to punch Naruto. The blonde quickly used his sand to block it and retaliated with his own punch. As the spar between the two dragged, Asuma decided to ask, "Hey, what's up with his speed?" Guy chuckled, "You need to ask?" Asuma caught on, "Oh, weights. Cool." At the mention of weights, Kakashi had an idea. With Naruto having all 9 of the Biju within him, he heals exceptionally quick, meaning that Naruto could quickly handle having his muscles torn. I'll have to remember to get him some weights. And for others too. Meanwhile, Guy was impressed by his rival student's taijutsu. I see. So it's a style that focuses on aggressive attacks and taking advantage of openings. Very nice. Yeah, it took a lot of sparring with Sasuke, Hinata, and I, and a lot more shadow clones for it to even be decent. But now, it's a proper taijutsu, able to handle its own against the strong fist and the gentle fist. Only thing it needs now is a name. As Lee ran up to Naruto, said Blonde took a deep breath and blew ink into him. Using Lee's blindness to his advantage, Naruto quickly made a bunch of strikes against him. Wiping the ink off his face, Lee ran up behind Naruto and threw a punch which the Blonde barely blocked. Naruto then lightly laughed. "Lee, you're the biggest weirdo I've ever met, but you are also the most fun person to fight. I'm barely keeping up." Lee let out a huge smile. "Thank you, Naruto." Sasuke was surprised at what his teammate had said. Naruto was the fastest out of everyone on Team 7, except for Kakashi, and even then their sensei struggled to keep up with Naruto. So for Naruto to exclaim that he was struggling to keep up was quite the feat. Sasuke was interested in how though. It was then Naruto landed a punch on Lee that had knocked him out of the arena. Naruto went up to Lee and offered his hand. "It was fun fighting with you, Lee. I hope we can do it again someday," he said while smiling. Lee, upon hearing his opponent's word, was struggling to hold back his tears. Lee got himself up with a somersault and raised his fist in the air. "Uzumaki Naruto, you have pushed me like no other. You clearly have what it takes to push my flames of youth to its limits." He then pointed at the Blonde. "From this day forward, you are my eternal rival. May our rivalry shine bright through all of Konoha." Everyone, except for Kakashi, Guy, and Naruto, sweat dropped. Naruto shrugged. "Okay, I accept the position of your rival." "Oh, Naruto, you poor soul," Kakashi thought. "Yes, so far. It is 1-0. To make up for this loss, I shall run 200 laps around all of Konoha. Then come tomorrow, I shall challenge you. What to, is for me to know, and for you to find out tomorrow. I must go now." He then ran off. "I'm proud of you, Lee," Guy exclaimed. Asuma then sighed. "All right, let's see who is next." As Asuma shook the box, Kakashi thought of something again. "One of Naruto's affinities is air, and so is Asuma's. I wonder if he knows where I can get those chakra blades." Next up is Shino and Shikamaru. Team 7 were currently celebrating their victory over at Icharku's Ramen. And then Sasuke finished him with a fireball. Naruto said, explaining how Sasuke won his matchup with Kiba. "I am smiled my. You gave them quite the beating it seems." They never stood a chance," Sasuke said. After finishing his bowl, Kakashi got up. "Well, guys, enjoy your meal. Tomorrow we meet up at Training Ground 7. Are we going to be doing another mission?" Hinata said while finishing up her ramen. "No, we're going to be taking a brief break. We'll resume doing missions next week. Until then, we train." "What can we expect for tomorrow, Kakashi-sensei?" Kakashi chuckled. "Some gifts." And with that, Kakashi left. Danzo had entered the Hokage's office. "Hiruzen, why did you call me at this hour?" Hiruzen said nothing. Danzo scowled at his old friend. "Danzo, ever since Team 7 was formed with Uzumaki Naruto, Uchiha Sasuke, and Hyuga Hinata, there have been many instances of unaffiliated A and BU attacking them." Danzo said nothing. "Recently, I started to suspect that these attacks were coming from inside Konoha." Danzo, once again, said nothing. "So I had gave Team 7 an out-of-village mission. Said mission lasted 2.5 months. Danzo still said nothing. During this time period, where they were outside the village walls, Kakashi reported that no ENBU attacked them. Danzo continued to say nothing. "I investigated the ANBU here, and it came up clear, which leaves the only possible option for ANBU attacks coming from Konoha are from route. Hiruzen looked up from his desk towards his once friend. Danzo, are you behind these attacks? Danzo scoffed. And if I was, what would you do? Hiruzen said nothing. Yes, I orchestrated the attacks, but only because I'm not afraid to do what is necessary for the good of Konoha. Unlike you. I've heard enough. Umbu, don't bother. I've already left. Danzo then puffed into a cloud of smoke, revealing that was a shadow clone. I want every ANBU searching. Now. Tomorrow had arrived again. Team 7 eagerly awaited for their sensei. And as if on KO, the team smiled at their sensei. Kakashi then laid down his bag. He first pulled out some weird metal things. These are weights. They're for all of you. Kakashi then went on to explain the concept. So, the more weights we add, the faster we'll eventually go? Naruto asked, excited about the idea. Kakashi nodded. Sasuke then asked, will we be as fast as Lee? In due time, Sasuke, in due time. Kakashi then pulled out a box and threw it at Naruto. The blonde excitedly opened the box, seeing two knives. These are chakra blades. Blades made with a special metal that'll allow you to channel your chakra. For these blades, I would recommend using wind. The blonde nodded in understanding. By the way, there are holsters within that box. Kakashi then threw a pouch that had a tanto at Sasuke. This blade is much the same. Only I would recommend using lightning. The Uchiha nodded. Kakashi finally threw a bow and a quiver. I hope I don't have to explain. Hinata looked at the bow. Kakashi-sensei. Not that I am ungrateful, but my clan traditionally uses taijutsu. 3 things. 1. Your clan traditionally doesn't use ninjutsus, and yet you have combined the gentle fist with lighting release. 2. You, yourself, said that you don't like some of your clan's traditions. 3. Well then, I guess you're screwed if you're up against a ranged fighter. Hinata said nothing. Thought so. Anyways, let's start trainin' dash. Uzumaki Naruto, I hope you are ready, a certain spandex-wearing individual said. As Sasuke finished his kunai throwing practice, Kakashi had noticed that Hinata was unusually quiet today and looked like something was on her mind. Before he could ask the Hyuga, certain blonde appeared, panting heavily. I'm here. Kakashi looked at the blonde. It had been a week since Lee declared that Naruto was his eternal rival, and the two had participated in various activities and challenges, akin to the ones he and Guy would do. So who won today? I did. I think that it's 10-9 now. The blonde shook his head. 11. We did an additional challenge to keep a egg safe, with just our pinkies. I see. Kakashi said, so question, how are the weights? The blonde grinned. I'm wearing as much as Lee now. Has so much for me having to catch up with you, as Sasuke. The Uchiha scoffed, I'll get there eventually. Not all of us can heal as quickly as you. The blonde chuckled. Kakashi then spoke up, unfortunately, there's no mission for us today. So today, Hinata interrupted. Are you sure? There's not another out-of-village mission that we can do? Preferably one that'll take, say, another month? Everyone stared at the Hyuga. What's wrong? Kakashi said. What do you mean? Don't play dumb with us, Hinata. Naruto said there's clearly something wrong. What is it? Hinata sighed in defeat. My father has requested that my teammates come over for dinner. Everyone stood silent. Naruto rubbed his forehead. Ugh, they are already complaining. When Naruto explained his Jinchuriki status, he had also explained that he had befriended 7 of the 9 Biju. They were all shocked, to say the least, but they accepted the fact that the blonde had befriended the chakra beasts. Besides, the benefits that the blonde received, once he told them, were clearly worth it. Hinata was quick to respond why. Cause to quote Kokuo, he had also told them their names after being given permission by the Biju. Uchiha arrogance is only rivaled by Hyuga arrogance. The Uchiha scoffed, but said nothing. Hinata wanted to defend her family's honors, but she couldn't, cause deep down she knew that it was correct. Sighing once again, Hinata continued, I'm worried about how the dinner will go. No offense, but you guys don't exactly mesh well. with my clan's tradition. Hinata then looked at Team, seeing the things that her clan disliked and what made them them. Kakashi was very laid back and lazy. True, when he became their sensei, his laziness had significantly decreased, but it was still there. Whenever there was relatively simple task, he would usually let them handle it on their own, while he laid back and read his book. Said book reading was also something that they weren't a fan of. Kakashi also didn't take a whole lot of things seriously. Naruto was a very loud and expressive person, not afraid to voice his opinion. He also didn't get along with serious people, like her cousin Niji, telling them to pull a stick out of their you-know-what. Naruto also didn't take a whole lot of things seriously. Sure, these were qualities that made her fall in love with the blonde, but they were qualities that the Hyuga clan frowned upon. Naruto's Jinchuriki status wasn't exactly appealing either. Sasuke was an Uchiha, a clan the Hyuga infamously didn't get along with. Sure, after the massacre, the clan had gave their condolences, but that didn't mean they now liked the Uchiha. In fact, many of the clan's elders were happy that the massacre had happened. Sasuke also respected very few people. Sure, she was one of them, but that didn't translate into respect her clan. On top of that, if Sasuke didn't respect you, while he wouldn't outright say it, he would make it very clear. So, you're worried that your clan will force you out of Team 7 cause of how we act, Kakashi said. The Hyuga heiress nodded. Kakashi sighed, okay, I think I can handle not being myself for a little while. Naruto, Sasuke. The two looked at the ground, clearly not happy with the options they had. HN, if it's just for dinner, I suppose I can put on a mask, but only out of respect. I will not lower myself like this again. Ugh, fine, I'll put up with their attitude. The indigo-haired girl smiled, thank you. All right, it's settled. I'll go get something nice to wear. Sasuke, I'm sure you have something. Somewhere. Sasuke grunted. Naruto, I think it's time you went shopping for an outfit. The blonde frowned. What the hell is wrong with what I'm wearing? Nothing. It's just that your cloak is your shinobi attire, not something you wear at dinner if you're a guest. The blonde grunted. Well then, Hinata said while smiling, I'll see you all at the Hyuga compound. As the blonde made his way to the clothing store, he couldn't help but think negative thoughts. Cammy, I don't know how I'm going to handle a whole room full of those oh-so-serious bastards. How Hinata ever came from them, I'll never understand. Just follow our advice, and you'll pull through. Kokuo reassured. Thanks, Kokuo. While walking, Naruto sensed 3 oh-so-familiar chakra signatures. Maybe he can put a smile on my face. Naruto slowly turned around and surveyed the area. That rock wasn't there before, and rocks aren't that square. It was then 3 kids jumped out of the box. Ah, we were doing so well. The blonde chuckled. Hey, Konohamaru. Hey, boss, how you've been? He asked while smiling. I was doing well up until the day decided to screw me. Udon raised an eyebrow. How? You see, my teammate, Hinata, said that her father wants her team over for dinner. At his place. Wait, is she the Hyuga one? Moegi asked. The blonde nodded. Ah, that sucks. Those Hyugas are such stuck-up jerks. Like Hanabi, Konohamaru said while crossing his arms. Yeah, pray for my sanity, you 3. It was then Ebisu appeared. There you 3 are, he said in a very tired voice. As the sunglass-wearing sensei walked towards his students, he took notice of the Jinchuriki. Oh, hey Naruto. The blonde raised an eyebrow. Hey Ebisu, are you okay? He asked, dropping what he usually calls him. I have a massive headache today. I think I'm going to call it a day and get some sleep, he said while rubbing his forehead. Ah, well, you go do that. I have to go get prepared for dinner at the Hyugas. You have fun with that, Cammy. Am I glad no one has yelled or screamed today? Uzumaki Naruto. Why did I speak? Ebisu said while crying crocodile tears. It was then that Lee ran up to his eternal rival. You may have bested me today, but come tonight, you will dash. Lee's mouth was covered by Naruto's sand. 2 things, Lee. 1, I know that you love to scream about your youth, but Ebisu has a headache, so please keep it down. 2, as much as I would love to see what crazy challenge you came up with, I have to attend a dinner at the Hyugas. Naruto then removed the sand from Lee's mouth. I see. Firstly, Ebisu, I am sorry. Secondly, well then, how does tomorrow sound? Naruto gave a simple thumbs up. Lee smiled. Very well. Tomorrow you will know defeat. Until then, I shall run 100 laps around Konoha. Lee then bolted off. Konohamaru looked back at Naruto. Boss, I have no idea how you handle that guy. Me too sometimes, me too. What a surprise to see you here, Naruto. Naruto turned his attention away from the mirror. Oh, hey Shizen-san, he said while smiling. It was then the black-haired girl noticed the Harwa Naruto was holding my. What's the occasion? Oh, Hayashi has invited us for dinner, and I am trying to pick which between orange and blue. Can you help? Shizen rubbed her chin before noticing a third option. How about that one, over there, she said while pointing. Naruto looked to see a blue heroi with orange stripes running along the arms. Naruto gasped, it's perfect. Come on, I know it's here somewhere. Sasuke muttered to himself. Sasuke was currently trying to find his black and red heroi. Ugh, I need to sort my clothes, and soon. After much more searching, he had finally found it. He sighed to himself, guess I should prepare then. Hinata was putting on her purple kimono, dreading for what's to come. Especially what might happen with Naruto and Sasuke. Though she loved the former and was friends with the latter, she couldn't deny that at times, they were both hot-headed, either towards others or each other. The Hyuga elders made no effort to hide their disapproval on who her teammates were. Will they try to get a rise out of them? Thoughts on how this could all go wrong were interrupted by a knock on her door. Hinata, are you ready? Mentally? No. Physically, however, yes, father. She opened her door to see her father. Your team is here. Let's go greet them, he said in his usual serious voice. Here goes nothing. They both went to the front entrance of the compound. There she saw her teammates. Sasuke looked okay. Naruto, meanwhile, looked amazing, though that may be a bit biased. Their sensei, wearing gray heroi, spoke. Hello, Mr. Hayashi. Thank you for inviting us for dinner, he said with an eye smile. It's good to see that you came, Hayashi responded. Hayashi then looked towards Naruto. Is there something wrong, Hayashi-sama? The Byakugan princess sighed in relief at her crush's use of sama. When it came to honorifics, Naruto wasn't a fan of using. It wasn't cause of disrespect or thinking he was superior, he just wasn't a fan. There were very few exceptions such as Kakashi-sensei, Shizen-san, or Tsunade-chan. Yes, I'm curious as to why you have brought your bamboo jug, some knives, and your gourd. Oh Kami, it's all going wrong already. Naruto looked to see that he did indeed bring those items. Oh, this is embarrassing. The blonde turned to face Hayashi again. Forgive me, Hayashi-sama. I didn't mean to bring these items with me. It's just that leaving the house with these items is just second nature to me. I don't even think when I do it. I just do it, he said while bowing. Hayashi nodded. Understandable. All is forgiven. I am going to ask that you leave these items in a box inside the compound, except for your gourd as my clan is curious about something. Everyone was confused at that last part. My clan wishes to see if your sand can defend itself against the 64 palms. Ah, well thank you, Hayashi-sama. The four went inside and Naruto placed his bamboo jug and knives in the box. As they went into the dining hall, a Hyuga elder spoke. Ah, so this is the rest of Team 7. Hinata responded, yes, Haruno-sama, they are. It was then that Hinata's sister came in the room. Hanabi looked towards the blonde that Konohamaru told her so much about. Ah, you must be Hanabi. Nice to meet you, Naruto said while smiling. Likewise. Hey, is it true that you use bubbles to attack people? The blonde nodded. May I ask how? Guys, just give some lame excuse that they're very special bubbles. Yuki told the blonde. They do come from me after all, Saiken said happily. Well, you see, they're very special bubbles. Hanabi nodded, deciding to leave it at that. Another Hyuga elder spoke. You must be Sasuke. The raven-haired boy nodded. Yes, nice to meet you.